Hey everybody, welcome to the R&R Show. You may notice someone's not here right now, but this fine gentleman is joining us. Chris George, how are you, my friend?
Oh, well, I am fantastic. Was so sad the last time I came on, and I just had to be with Richard, and I said I signed up for Ruel. I was promised Ruel, and now I decided I had to oust Richard. I pushed him out of the way. I exploded his internet router. I did everything I could to create some sabotage to make sure that I was back here so that you and I could hang out.
I
That's
love it, my friend. This is great. We just had someone drop some stickers in, folks. We are going to be doing some tech checks right now. That's what you're here for. This is the R&R pre-show. Y'all, you see the little avatars running around there. We're trying this new thing where the avatars go in front of the title, which I think looks sort of cool. But also,
yeah.
when you're dropping stickers, let us know if you can hear them. I'm still fiddling around with things, and Chris has got his things going on. You don't want to see backstage, folks. You've got wires hanging all over the place and duct tape everywhere.
The carnage that is just outside of this frame, I have to say, I haven't even seen some of this gore, and it's
Yeah,
very, we don't want to turn the camera,
yeah,
but
yeah. You
what's
definitely don't want to
most
see what's going on.
important is those little avatars going in front of the R&R pre-show sign, because we wanted to highlight you all, the
Yes,
best in the business, the best chat that I was thrilled to come back and say hi to. I
agreed.
like
Yeah,
I like people saying Rahdo got less gray. I
yeah,
appreciate that. Give me a couple years and I'll get there.
yeah. You're about 20 years younger, according to Undo Pixel. Yeah, very nice. Duck and Death TV, thank you for the resub. Friends, can y'all just confirm? Can you hear those alerts when they go through? Go ahead and drop a sticker or two, folks, if you can. We're getting close to a hype train as well, so we really appreciate all the bits and subs and everything happening. The Curious Case of Richard Ham, says Ruckus. Thank you,
That's
Ruckus.
exactly it. I didn't want to reveal my secret right now, but I am Rahdo. That's why I gotta get my energy going.
Yeah.
Just I gotta pick it up. I gotta pick it up and start the hype train running a mile a minute. And now, folks, hey everybody, and here we are. The Rahdo runs through today, and today we got Ruel and Chris George from Riverboard Reviews. Oh, that's it. Is that better?
Perfect. Folks, someone clipped that. That was like the perfect Rahdo impression right there. I want to see it clipped. Stickers have no sound. Oh my gosh. Okay, let me see if I can fix that on my end. Because I hear them in my earbuds, but they are not
I,
coming out on your end, folks. So that's not a good thing.
I think there just might be delayed. Good vibes. Wow. See, maybe I think you might have heard them there. I feel fairly confident
Yeah.
that that they're going to make some sounds, as long as I keep checking the screen and see
Yeah.
them.
So folks, go ahead and drop another one. I just flipped a switch. I'm hoping that switch is the one to do. Brenner said that's a great impression.
Oh,
Chris, so
thanks.
yeah. Oh, undo
Now do the
pixel.
bomb.
Ruel, does that mean you have them set for monitor but not? I did undo pixel. Now I have them set for monitor and output.
Good
So
vibes.
yeah.
Cheers. I'm hearing them.
I hear them too, loud and clear. So, friends, if you're joining us for the first time, this is a monthly show we do here on the Rahdo channel, the R&R Show, where we go live and talk about games and all kinds of good stuff. And you're in the pre-show now. What we're doing, we're taping this for YouTube. The YouTube show will be edited down a little bit. You'll see it tomorrow on YouTube, but you all get to see the making of the sausage, as we like to say, and you're going to see Chris and I go through our lists and hang out with y'all and do some fun stuff as well. So let's see. The reindeer impression. No, I think I heard it, but it was very quiet. Okay. Well, at least y'all heard it.
Oops.
I will turn up the alerts a little bit here. And Dutch Yoda's in the house. Hello, Dutch. Chris, we are on the same team. Apparently, we have the same uniform.
That's true. We didn't even plan this. I
Right?
was so thrilled when I jumped on to see that we were both rocking the red, because the
Yeah.
R&R show, that's the third R.
That it is. It's the official color of the R&R show, friends.
You heard it here
Okay.
first. Locked down. And it's
And
almost like the same shade too.
I know
This
it's weird.
feels like
Wait, yours is it's not a pencil first sweatshirt or hoodie that you
no,
have.
mine's my own. It's a room and board shirt that I just got
Oh,
made. Yeah.
Do you sell those on your? Do you have a merch store? Or?
Yeah, I have a little merch store. I feel like I have all the price. I'm super cheap and I hate shipping and
Yeah,
it's annoying because like some things they require more shipping. So for anything on my merch store, I just try to sell it like zero cost. Like
yeah,
I put it as low as possible because I think like anybody who's buying it, I just think that's really cool. You know what I mean?
nice.
That they're like repping the channel and whatever. So that's
Yeah.
I
Oh,
can
that's
I can
great.
make $5 or I can make nothing and just like have more out there and potentially make
Right.
it more accessible, right? So
Cool. I need to get one of
that's
those. I'm, as much as I enjoy this pencil first one, I need to get a ribbon board one next. Um,
well, see, I'm more about a zip up. I always feel like I get too hot if I've got
yeah,
a pullover.
yeah,
Oh
same.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly,
it's all
right?
about the
Like
zippy
so,
hoodies. Yeah, I'm all
yeah.
about those. So Feld fans asking, did I miss it? Where's Rahdo? I'm glad you asked, Feld fan. We're gonna let you know where it's gonna be part of the show. We're gonna wait until the show starts, and Rahdo has recorded a special message for all of us to enjoy. So we'll get to that in a few. So hang out with us. Chris and I are gonna be doing some fun things here. Why don't we go right to the all the things that people have been asking for us to do? Like I see a top three. I see a Ruel Ranks.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Y'all,
There's a
yeah,
lot in the
y'all are,
bits.
yeah, all those bits, folks. Thank you for spending those, and don't forget, if you have an Amazon Prime account, you too can get your very own subscription for free to the Rahdo Runs Through channel by dropping it here, and then you get all kinds of goodies, including discount on merch and all kinds of stuff. Just check the show notes below, folks, for that. And we've got another thing here. There can only be one. Okay, so I'm gonna look at the activity thing here. Some Undo Pixels asking there can only be one, so that's where we pick Kickstarter or GameFound. Ooh, that's interesting. Dutch MacGyver just subscribed. Thank you. And we got a bunch of subscribers and resubscribers like Death TV, Zen for One, and all kinds of folks. Thank you, friends. Um, Chris, what should we do? Should we jump into a top three? I think we should do a top three.
Let's jump into it. Let's
Okay.
just jump into all the bits being redeemed.
Yeah.
People are asking where Rahdo is. Don't worry. Yes, where is he in his RV? I think that's a good. That's a good. That's a good
Pretty
guess.
good guess. Yeah.
I told you I ousted him because I wanted to spend time with you all. That's
Yeah.
the real reason.
Exactly. See, folks, Chris wants to spend quality time with you all. So we're going to do a top three. Friends in chat, drop in chat. What do you want to hear? The definitive top three list. It could be anything game related, non-game related. We've done all types of games here on the R&R show, but we've also done like, video, movies and TV shows and whatnot. IPs, drop whatever you think you want to hear the top three of, folks. And we will, Chris and I are going to come up with a fantastic list for y'all.
A definitive list.
The definitive list is
This is the answer.
Yes.
We are figuring it out right here, right now.
And it's going on the internet, so it's it's true. Okay.
You know it's true. Like everything you read on and watch on the internet, it's true.
Absolutely, 100%. Okay, here we go. So we've got some, and then we're gonna do a poll and figure out. We're gonna select one of these. Or actually, I don't even know if we need to do a poll. Let's just, if you see something good, Chris, we're gonna do it.
Sure. Yeah. Whatever. Okay. We got top three fungi. That's pretty funny.
Oh,
top three movies of 2022. I was
okay.
like talking about movies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitive top three of Rahdo channel contributors. That's gonna be, you got the top two right here.
I was just gonna say.
Who else are we gonna pick? That's a little bit of a bias. It's top three cheapest games.
I like that one. That's cool. I'm always, that's what I appreciate about your channel, Chris. It's always about getting more bang for your buck. So that might be a good one right there.
Yeah, totally. Okay. Top three Chris's, someone named Andrew Scott says.
Oh, thank you, Andrew Scott. Yeah, well, we're looking at the number one here. So spoiler alert, we need to find a 2 and a 3. Top three big box games, party games.
Somebody says second for top three cheapest games. That seems to be pulling out.
Yeah.
Pulling out some steam. Let's do that.
Let's do that. Okay, friends, here we go. So this is gonna be your top three cheapest games, the definitive list. Oh man, I love cheap games. I'm a board gamer on a budget, just like many of us are, and I'm always looking for those games, Chris, that are going to give me a ton of play for where I don't have to spend, my next week's paycheck. So
yeah.
And I think a lot about, the smaller games, but there are some bigger box games that you can find, at a pretty good price normally. So I don't know. What are we going to define cheap as? Are we looking at 20 US or?
Yeah, I mean, I think just like good value, right? I think bang for your buck is the criteria we should go with, because then
Okay.
then that can encompass a large sort of scale.
Yes.
I did a top 10 of like best value games recently, and I'm going to make sure I don't pick anything off that list
Oh, okay.
to include it in here,
Yeah.
because there are some other ones that I've played since, and I was like, oh, they should have been on the list. So I'm
Ah,
excited. I've got two in mind right now.
okay.
Um,
So
but
the
I'm
one that really off the top of my head, I always think about button shy games. The games
Yeah,
that are wallet size. Those are typically I think around 15 US, and one of our friends in chat mentioned that as well. I
yeah.
love like Sprawlopolis is such a good game, and it's 18 cards, it's very portable, and it's only $15 US. And now I'm thinking the Oink games. A lot of the Oink games I really enjoy. Again,
Yeah.
smaller box games, but the gameplay is always so smooth and um for around 20 US. So I'm saying, so folks, I am qualifying this. I'm saying 20 US dollars because our friend Chris is
That's
somewhere
true.
else
I'm up
besides
in
the US.
Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, I live in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. So every time, and I cover a lot of Kickstarter stuff. So every time I'm always making the conversion, I'm
Yeah.
thinking, oh, that seems like a good deal. Wait a minute. Oh no, it's like 30% more in my currency. Is it worth it? So
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
So okay, so I'm gonna I mean Button Shy, I mean we've talked plenty about Button Shy games here on the channel. I'm trying to think of other
hmm
ones. I mean I'm always I've always been a fan of Star Realms. That is a deck building game, 1v1,
yeah.
normally around $15 US, and you can find it much cheaper at your friendly local game store or online. I've always enjoyed that game. It's a deck builder, heads up, and it's still around in my collection, and it's cheap.
Yeah, I don't have a third, but I have two right now.
Okay, yeah, let's go for it, Chris.
All right, all right. Look, one that I want to highlight is a game that I ended up playing for the first time at Origins. It's a social
Mhm.
deduction game, so it's cheap. It's like 21 bucks Canadian. So
Okay.
this is I that's like, I don't know, a dollar US probably. Um but it's Night of the Ninja by Brotherwise
Yes.
Games.
Oh
Have you played
yeah.
Night of the Ninja?
Excellent game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
good call.
so good. It
Yeah.
blew me away at Origins, and I was like, "How much is this?" Well,
Yeah.
this is so cheap. It's so fun.
Yeah.
If you haven't played it, the it's a social deduction game, sort of. It's a team versus team game, but every round the teams will switch. So you're gonna get dealt a hidden role, and it's basically your ranking in your ninja clan. So I'll be like the number one blue. You'll be like the number three blue, and the team that wins is the ninja of the highest ranking that's still alive at the end of the game, because you all get these two cards. You get three, you do a quick draft, you end up with two cards, and then you resolve them in order, and they're usually like information gathering in the beginning and then like attacking at the end. So I could say, oh, I reveal Ruel's role right there, and he's on the opposite team, everybody go attack him, but
Yeah.
I might be lying, right? And so when
Yep.
you get to the attacking roles, it's all kind of about who do you trust, what have you seen, what has happened, and then whatever team wins, all of their team members get to pull a random amount of points from a bag. There are these ninja stars. They rank from like 2 to 4, and this person who gets 10 points wins. So if you're on this winning team like 3 times in a row, you got a pretty good chance at winning. And then you have that sort of random as a tiebreaker, which I don't mind because it's
Yeah.
just fun. It's light. Like,
Yeah.
it's not an intense super strategy, but it's just like, I was looking at it. I looked it up the other day. I was like, how much is this? And I was blown away that I was expecting 30 bucks Canadian, right? And then it was
Yeah.
only 20 bucks Canadian, which
Yeah.
is like, yeah, it's just such a steal of a deal.
I agree.
Night,
Yeah.
yeah, Night of the Ninja for sure.
Excellent choice, man. Excellent choice. Yeah, if folks, if I think a really cool way of describing it is sort of like a social deduction game with citadel mechanisms,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
you're playing cards and you play them in a certain order, and then you're going to reveal. And I love the fact that like you said, it's only a race to 10 points, so it plays really quickly. So
yeah,
someone like me who's not the biggest social deduction fan, I don't mind it because yeah, it's over quickly, but I found myself I've played it like 4 times in a row because it's so quick and it's just fun. So okay, that's a great
yeah,
choice. Night of the Ninja, folks, from Brotherwise Games. Oh, that's so good. That's
yeah,
way better than the
yeah.
things
That one
I'm
was.
thinking of right now. So
Well,
um
I'm always like, is this in my budget? No. Is this, if it's a yes in my budget, then it's gonna be on this list. Let's be
nice.
real.
All right. What about, so you had two of them. How about another one, Chris?
Okay, I'll give you my next one. This one would be my number one. I think I can reach it on my shelf behind me. Let's see
Okay.
if I can pull it out. Yeah. This is an incredible bang for your buck, and
Yes.
it's Red Cathedral.
Oh, yeah.
I loved this game. It's so good. I played it only for the first time last year
Mhm.
because they had the Contractors expansion that came out, and the Contractors expansion is fun, but you don't need it whatsoever. Like this base
Yeah.
game, it's like $32 Canadian. $32 Canadian. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous for the amount of like interesting decision spaces that you get in this game. And it's really neat too because I don't know if I can. Yeah, probably not. No, the light's gonna blur it out. But you have this. You do three things on your turn. You claim a portion of the cathedral that you want to build. You put resources to that cathedral to build it, or you collect resources. And there'll be 5 dice around a circle, and you move the dice the number of pips shown on the dice, and then you get that many resources of the number of dice that are at that resource spot. Then you roll up all those dice again, and you can move the dice. So it's constantly shifting around of what you can do. But there's so many like little and then things that just build in the excitement and
Yeah.
build in that that feeling. It's just like it's such a small box, but you get so much satisfaction. It's like such a satisfying game in there.
Yes.
Um, a
So
Flashman
good.
saying picked up Red Cathedral at BNN sale a few weeks ago. Still need to play it though. It's
Okay.
great and it plays quickly. It's like 70 to 90 minutes, right? Like for a
Yeah.
really nice chunky experience. And I played it with people who are like really new to board gaming. And I was like, trust me, this is fun. And they played it and they're like, oh, this is fun. And they wanted to go out and get a copy. Like
Oh,
it,
nice.
yeah. And I played it with my parents too. Like didn't find it too overwhelming as well. Cause sometimes
Yeah.
like my number one quote from my parents when playing games is, "Oh, this is complicated." And so I'm like, "Okay, when I hear those words, I know that's not a game for you."
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but like it's surprising to me how accessible it is for it being such a satisfying experience as well.
Yeah. Oh, another great choice. Yeah,
Yeah.
Red Cathedral. It surprised me too when I first got my copy. Like, you get that box. It's a pretty small box, and it's
Hmm.
literally like jam packed with components. It's like, it's
Yeah.
heavy, like physically heavy. And then you get the game, and you set up. It's got the rondelle thing going on, and it's really a smart game. Great choice. Yeah, definitely a ton of bang for your buck in that game.
So
And
much, and there's so
yeah,
much variability too because the
yeah.
cathedral setup's different.
Hmm.
There are little powers that you can activate, and those are always random. Like there's only 4 in a game that everybody can activate, and you
Yeah.
get at least 12 in the base game.
Right.
There are more in the expansion, but yeah, exactly with that small box. Like when I got the expansion, I thought, oh, I love having everything in one box, but
Yeah.
it is impossible because they were
Yep.
so efficient with space.
Yeah.
Normally games, they have this bloated space because they want to take up the shelf space and they want to
Yep.
catch your eye, right? But this does not do that. I just think it's just like such an
Yeah.
awesome game. Yeah.
Great
And
call.
for the price too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what makes
definitely. Oh
yeah.
man. So those are two fantastic choices, folks, right there. I'm trying to think of one. We're gonna any button shy game I think could make this list, but in honor of Chris, we're gonna go a little deeper into the things. I'm gonna go with a roll and write game that came out. I think it was last year, maybe last year, called Three Sisters. Now, Three Sisters is, I mean, you're talking about a crunchy roll and write. It really is. I mean, it is from the designers of Fleet the Dice game. It is another, really smart roll and write game. And it's, I think, US, it's probably like 25 or 30 US.
Hmm.
And for a roll and write, I think it's right on the money. But the amount of game that's in that little box, it's a smaller box than Red Cathedral. Mine is somewhere in the
Yeah.
closet over there, but oh my goodness, it's so good. Again, another rondelle, which I haven't seen in a roll and write. It's a rondelle. You pick the action, and you're filling up your sheet. You have actually 2 score sheets. One, with your gardens, and the other with a bunch of different variables like your shed, your different things you can do. What I love, Chris, about this game is there's so much going on. It's so combo-tastic. That's one of my favorite words of all time.
Nice.
Combo-tastic.
Yeah.
They give you a notes section on your score sheet, so you're taking notes like, oh, I need to be sure that I do this and this before I do this. And it's like, it sounds crazy, but I wish actually more roll and writes would do that, because I always tend to forget stuff. So in Three Sisters, as you start to unlock things that let you combo off other things, having those notes, it's a godsend. So I think
Right.
it's such a great deal for a roll and write, 25 US or so. So if they're okay with that, Chris, I'm going to put that on our number 3 for our top 3.
Let's do it. I've heard
Okay.
I haven't played Three Sisters, but I've heard only good things about it. I've heard that it's so good. I heard it's great solo too. A lot of
Yes.
players like
Yeah.
playing it solo. I'm not. Are you a big solo gamer, Ruel?
Big time, yeah, big time solo
Are you?
gamer. So yeah, when I got into the
Nice.
hobby, 6 years, almost 7 years ago,
Mhm.
I bought Pandemic, the game, for myself for my birthday present. And my wife and I, she was really into the theme, just the whole, hey, we've got to stop the pandemic. Obviously, the
Yeah.
theme was a lot cooler back then when there was like no real pandemic.
I was just gonna make that joke. I was like, oh, so
Yeah,
it's your
yeah.
wife's fault. We ended up with all this.
So she liked
I
the theme,
see
but
it.
she didn't really enjoy the gameplay as much. So I was like, okay, no problem. So I can solo this. It's a cooperative game.
Yeah.
I can just do all the characters. So I soloed that thing for like a month straight, and it was just
Cool.
that really solidified my love of the hobby. And I've been a solo gamer since then. What about you? Do you solo a
Nice.
lot of games?
I'm not a huge solo gamer. I think because the reason I love board games because I like talking. I like talking a lot.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so having games that like my I tend to veer towards more interactive too. Games
yeah.
that you can't solo, like Night of the Ninja you couldn't solo, right?
Right.
Anything that incorporates any sort of negotiation or those sorts of things,
Yeah,
that's what I like to lean towards. And so I find because of those sort of preferences, I don't often do solo. I want to do more solo, but I just I I have such a hard time getting it out of the box and setting it up. And it also might be because I don't have like a designated space.
Oh,
Like I'm in a more like I'm in a smaller apartment in Toronto.
uh-huh.
So in terms of like setting up for a game night, I got to pull out the table and like set it up and that
Okay.
sort of stuff. And so if I had a spot like a room where I could leave it set up, go do some moves and like have things set out, I think that would probably help me towards like my solo journey because I
Yeah,
like a small little puzzle and I can see roll and writes being the easiest and the most accessible to solo because of the minimal. Okay, I pull up the pads, boom, I do
yep,
my little actions in front of me that I can pull it up pads, just relaxing. Yeah,
yeah.
I've done like a few solo games, and especially if I have to like review something and I haven't played it enough, right? Then I'll try to solo. But
Yeah, yeah. You brought up
yeah.
the word that I use this a lot in the solo games I enjoy is a puzzle, right? So back
Yeah.
in the day, as kids, we do jigsaw puzzles, me and my
Yeah.
brothers,
Yeah.
and then my wife and I enjoyed jigsaw puzzles too. But then when I discovered solo board gaming, it's like that the living room table that is now like I've got a game there almost constantly where if I have to
Cool.
learn it for a stream or for a video, cool. But I also have a solo game as well, and like you
Yeah.
said, the roll and writes are really, really easy to do in that aspect. So in that sense, it's like you just roll a couple of dice, you have your score sheets, you're good to go. Um,
Yeah.
Undo Pixel mentioned Rolling Realms as well. I think Rolling Realms is an excellent roll and write.
Rolling Realms is a really good pick.
Yeah,
I saw it when Undo Pixel said it,
yeah,
and I said that would be
yeah,
if we didn't have one, I was just gonna go with it for it being
yeah.
on the top three because
So good,
yeah,
yeah. And I know
really good.
Richard's a big fan of that as well. And for those of you just tuning in, yes, Richard is not here, but he's here in spirit, and he will be joining us via video, folks. So spoiler alert, we're going to be talking to Richard
That's
via
true.
video real soon here. So this is Chris George. I'm Ruel Gaviola. We're happy to be doing the R&R show together with you all today, and we just did our top 3 games. What was it?
Cheapest games,
Cheapest games,
best cheap games.
best cheap games, best
Yeah,
bang for your
yeah.
bucks. Thank
Best
you for
bang for your
the
buck.
resub, Nazgoth. Appreciate it. Undo Pixel is gonna ask us to do. There can only be one: Rolling Realms or Welcome to the Moon. So I have not played Welcome to the Moon yet. Chris, have you?
I've only played Welcome to.
Okay, yeah,
Um,
same.
But well, Welcome to the Moon. See that's interesting though, because especially from the solo and like the replayability
Yeah,
aspect of it, I know that there's that campaign, right?
yeah, yeah,
Because so the campaign pushes me towards Welcome to the Moon, but I
yeah,
think I'm a big fan of Rolling Realms, and I got enough campaign games anyway.
yeah.
Pah.
I don't know about you, but campaign games, I'll get through like a few games and I'll always have trouble
Yeah,
finishing them. It's like
yeah,
it's hard to get, people to come back for the same game over and I mean, I want to do it and I know others want to do it too, but we just
yeah.
haven't there's always
It's
like a new game
timing,
to
right?
play. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
timing for real.
And the more people you have in that thing, then the more schedules you have to figure out. I mean, Welcome to the
Yeah.
Moon you can just do by yourself, so that actually, like,
Yeah,
we've gone
that
on the tangent of that, but I think Rolling Realms is really solid. I was surprised by how solid it was when
yeah.
I got to it.
Hmm.
Um, I do like this mini tournament every month on my
Yeah.
channel, and so we did most best affordable games. Like we did a whole like tournament of that, and Rolling Realms ended up in the finals for that
Oh, nice.
because people were voting it through as well. So I got to give it to Rolling Realms in terms of
Yeah.
there can only
This,
be one. There can only be
yeah.
one. Well, we got Welcome to. We don't need Welcome to the Moon. We get
Agreed.
Rolling Realms and Welcome to. Easy peasy. There's our
And and Rolling Realms has some of the two of the coolest dice I've ever seen. Those things are like this big, folks. If you've
yeah
never seen it, literally this big. Those Rolling Realms dice. Oh my god, you can hurt someone with those dice, Chris.
yeah.
Okay, so we've done a top three, which is great.
hmm
We've done a there can only be one. I think there was another one here. There can only be one. Another one for Undo Pixel says Kickstarter or GameFound. Now, Chris, you are the expert here. Kickstarter, GameFound. GameFound is the new kid on the block.
GameFound is. We're not
Yeah.
going to talk about Backer Kick because they're just their system is still in beta. Let's say
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say
it feels like a beta still.
yeah, totally.
Um,
And Kickstarter is the 800-pound gorilla in the room. I mean, they've been around. They are the top dogs. But if you had to pick one, Chris, according to Undo Pixel, what do you lean towards?
Well, this is an interesting question, right? Because you have to, because I look at on my channel as well. I every Monday I look at every single board game that's leaving Kickstarter and GameFound, right? Like that's my Monday show.
Mhm.
And so I've interacted with the platform a lot. GameFound has been making a lot of like little improvements, like quality of life improvements. They still don't have a way to sort like most funded based on end date, which would be useful for me for one specific like video purpose that I do at the end of the year. But it's tough because are we talking about the amount that is currently on the Kickstarter platform, right? Because
Mhm.
Kickstarter is still more well known. Then you got to go with Kickstarter because Kickstarter has more stuff, right? They a lot of companies still do their stuff there. A lot of big things still happen over there. So if we were cutting out Kickstarter, then we would lose all those things. Versus if we were cutting out GameFound, we would lose less things, right? So
Right.
from a value proposition, I would say, well, we got to go with Kickstarter just because more people still know them. However, from like a user usability por- side of things, GameFound is doing, I think, everything better in or almost everything better, like sort of in that right direction.
Right.
There's a way to tag comments so that if not anybody uses it, but at least you can use it as like the developer, and you can potentially search things more effectively or search questions that might have been asked, right? So just having that as a feature from like a consumer standpoint, I feel is really solid.
Yeah.
Um, GameFound has all the tabs on the side that can jump you right down to what section you're interested in. If you don't want to scroll through the
Yeah.
50 miles of all the plastic that they want to sell you
Yep.
and just get to the meat and potatoes how to play, GameFound has that too. So like from a platform perspective, I
Mhm.
go with GameFound. And so
Yeah.
that's what I'll say. I'll kick that 800-pound gorilla in its chest and give it to the little guys.
In the chest. I was gonna say the nether regions, but that works too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, I should go for another reason. That's how I die to an 800-pound gorilla. That is, you can see this is how Ruel wins against an 800-pound gorilla and gets out of here and leaves the 800-pound gorilla to just rip my limbs off, and throw me all around the
Oh,
backstage
that's
area.
so funny. We got a comment from Sailnit says GameFound needs some quality of life improvements for backers. Do you agree with that statement, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't backed too much. I trust SailNet though. He's one of my patrons and is a commenter and is a super backer. I
Nice.
believe. So I haven't backed as much on GameFound. You know what GameFound does do that's really annoying that Kickstarter does but does better. Whenever they email you like an update, they say, "Oh, this thing has an update." They make you click through to their
Yeah.
stupid website, which
Yep.
is the most annoying thing. And I know why they do it. They want to get you on their site and maybe you'll look at something else,
Yeah.
but it's just annoying. Like
Agreed.
Kickstarter gives it all the information you need in your email, And that's exactly what it is. I get an email. I want to be scrolling through while I'm,
Hmm.
doing something else, and just look at it quickly and see if there's any relevant information.
That's
I
right.
don't want to be anything that feels like I'm being sold at is something I repel against enormously.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. But what quality of life improvements,
Yeah. I'm
SailNet,
wondering.
are
I'd
you
like to.
thinking?
Yeah. Sound it. Let us
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
We'll throw it on here in
Give us the
text.
list, because we got a platform, and I got a loud mouth, so I'll shout about it right
Yes.
now
For
and
real.
pretend, and if it's a good idea, which I'm sure it will be, take credit
Mm.
as though it was my own and say you just reminded me of it.
I love it. Yeah, you can see, folks, you're seeing it live right here on the Rahdo Runs Through channel. The stealing of credit. So, Chris, what do you? I mean, do you see the future of crowdfunding games? I mean, do you see the future moving towards GameFound, or are we going to have this split where we're going to have Kickstarter and GameFound, or does Kickstarter just beat down all the competition? Do you have any thoughts on that or gut feeling?
That's a good question too. I feel like Kickstarter is going to be around for forever, right? I
Yeah,
would like to see more move towards GameFound, but I think you're also going to see like the streaming factor pop up, and you've already seen it a bit too. Like, Come On flirted with having their own pledge manager,
yeah,
sort of, or like their own sort of launching thing, and then I think they went back on it. You saw that with Hero Quest, or whichever one of the heroes
Hero,
it was.
HeroScape
One of the,
was it?
yeah,
Was it?
HeroScape,
Yeah,
one of them. I always get those two confused.
yeah,
But you saw it with them, right? Like, they had their own, Hasbro had their own like thing that they were trying to crowdfund on, and they said,
hmm,
we need this amount, and they're just like, well, you're just on a Hasbro page. Like,
right,
they're like, no, we need it. Yeah, I think you're going to see a few people try to attempt it, like BackerKit's trying to do it as well, and I bet you'll see them. I mean, I don't know any of this. This is all just like
right,
hypothesis and like supposition, but I assume how BackerKit is getting people to take a risk with them in the crowdfunding is they're giving them a reduction of fees, right? Like,
hmm,
I would assume would be the model. Be like, hey, we want to start launching this thing. We need large creators to come over. We won't charge you the 7 to 5% that like Kickstarter, or I don't know how much GameFound charges, but I assume it's same with the processing fees, right? You need to have a fee
right,
for like credit card and whatever. Um, so you'll see people like trying to make those attempts into the sort of like streaming wars of like Disney Plus, Hulu, Netflix,
yeah,
Crave, like all that's Prime Video, all that sort of stuff. But I don't see Kickstarter ever being toppled, right? I think the
yeah,
fact that I still use Kickstarter as a verb, right?
yep, yep,
When you get to that sort of standing of Kleenex, you have yourself a Kleenex. It's not a Kleenex, but it is a
right.
Kleenex.
Oh
I
my
think
gosh,
sort of like Kickstarter is still in that
yeah.
vein right
Like,
now.
I feel like, I mean, I agree. I think Kickstarter will always be around, but I think I can see more, like, say, the tabletop gaming industry moving towards GameFound. You've already seen some of that,
Yeah,
some of it.
yeah,
So I don't know if it'll, like, Kickstarter will always be around, but I don't think they'll have as much of a chunk as board games in, say, 5 years. That's
yeah,
my guess. I don't
and
think they'll
yeah,
totally be out of it, but I can see other platforms, getting more of the market share, basically.
for sure. And I think the benefit of GameFound too is that it comes from like a publisher standpoint. Like, Awaken
Yeah.
Realms was
Yep.
like, we need this thing. We're making this thing specifically for board games, and that's it. Right?
Hmm.
Kickstarter has so many different aspects to it. They're like, no, this is just for board games, and I think they've aggressively like tried to bring people over, and I think publishers will respond well to that by saying, okay, these are people who actually get the process of what we're doing
Right.
and could hopefully implement more things. SailNet says two big ones for me personally are marking projects as received and not mixing canceled pledges in with completed pledges.
Hmm.
That's yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's annoying if you're looking through your list, right? And you're saying, have I gotten this yet? What's the status? If GameFound doesn't have a good way of organizing that yet. So
Right.
GameFound, if you're listening, get it together. The people want it. Be the hero for the people that we're trying to hope that you are.
There it is. There's your plea, folks, to GameFound.
Yeah.
Please listen to Chris here. We've got a couple of things here we could do as well. We've got some time before we're going to get into the show,
Yeah.
folks. So thanks for sticking around. We've got a
Mhm.
Trivial Pursuits from Brenner. Now, normally we spin this wheel that Richard has set up, but we don't have that wheel ready. So we're just gonna talk some trivia right now, I guess. Is that okay with you, Chris? Can
Let's
we?
talk some trivia.
Yeah, can we? Well, let's get to know you better, my friend. Did you talk about last time you were here last month? You talked to Richard. Did you talk about your journey into the whole? Hey, I like board games. Now I'm doing a YouTube channel. Have you talked about that at all
Yeah, I'm not
on the
I'm
show?
not sure I have really.
Okay.
I when I first got into the YouTube channel, like I was really I felt a little hush hush about like adding my own personality to it, which is kind of
Oh,
weird, right?
okay.
Because like I watch people to get to know them. Like I would watch YouTube videos and be like, oh, I like these people and I like them
Yep.
as people and I like knowing about their lives. But for me, I was like, oh, people don't want to know about me. I'm just gonna talk about the games. Just look at the rule book. Be like provide people
Yeah.
with information. Like that's what you should do. Yeah, but my journey into YouTube was I started in the pandemic. I started about a year and two-thirds ago. It was like May 2020, I guess,
Oh, okay.
2021. May 2021. That was around when I really started like actively pursuing it. I'm an actor originally, and still am. Um, but during the pandemic, all of my contracts got canceled. I did not have work
Yeah.
because everything was shut down. And so I spent the first year just playing Hearthstone, and then the second year I was like, okay, you need to pull yourself out of this hole. Uh, do something creative. People have been telling me to like get into the board game space or like start a board game YouTube for a long time. And I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's go in. And yeah, so then I just jumped in with both feet first and just spent basically every day trying to figure out how to produce content on YouTube and what would be interesting and also what would be relevant in the space, right? Because you can do the same sort of thing, and that's fine, but I wanted to treat it as like, no, this is my goal is to make this supplementary to my acting career.
Mhm.
And so I kind of stumbled into talking about like the cheaper side of things. And because whenever I watch YouTube, I go, yeah, I want to buy that. And then I look at my bank account, I'm like, oh wait, it's a pandemic. You can't buy that. So so I was like, okay, so I needed to like talk myself down from those sorts of larger purchases that like at the current time couldn't afford. And so I started with it. Probably my most popular and like most growth in a series is like the 5 reasons you shouldn't back something, and that's
Mhm.
more just it started with X-Men Marvel United. Now I just put out another one for Marvel United Multiverse, um,
Okay.
and it's more to to take a step back and say, okay, is this a game that you're really going to like and that you're going to be as excited for when it shows up as you are right now, right?
Mhm.
It's all that sort of like vibe of I don't want to be marketed to. I want to see what the experience is that I'll get, and I want to be excited by that experience, and then I want to get that experience. But I've gotten games where, well, this kind of leads in actually to our top list that we're going to be doing later,
Yep.
right? The
Yeah.
sort of that sort of disappointment, those disappointing feelings of building something up and then not having those expectations met. And so I tried to talk myself out of doing that, and then I was like, well, that's a good video content idea, so I might as well share those reasons and then see if people counter them and convince me to purchase it, and then I can go ahead and purchase it.
Nice.
um,
Nice.
yeah, so that was sort of like that was what kind of helped propel me a little bit forward in terms of gaining a bit of traction. And then with those things that gain traction, then I can take the time and do silly things that I think are funny and that like hopefully other people think are funny. Maybe not, often not, but just throw in those like dumb little things that I can do it. And YouTube has been wonderful because not only does it provide an outlet for me to share like my passion, but I also I also get to be creative, right? And
Yeah.
whenever in between jobs and not do and now while doing jobs and whatever, I still get to apply that like creative aspect, which I personally like really missed over that pandemic year. And
Yeah.
and now I have this now I've just gone further and further into this like incredible community and it's just led to, it kind of snowballs. It's wild.
Yeah.
Um, but you just like you go in with your passion, and it's so awesome, like meeting everybody through this, like hang out with you and Richard and other people on YouTube as well. You just meet the friggin' best people, both in the
Agreed.
comments, in the chat, uh, or or like in person too. There's consistently been just like amazing people who I'm like, yeah, like you're my people.
Yeah.
Like you're
Yeah.
my freaking people. Like I get you
Absolutely.
because like we love the same cool nerdy things. So
I
that
agree 100%. Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
what a great story. Thank you for sharing that, Chris. And just to echo some of those sentiments, like, you know, as you meet people, through, YouTube or Twitch or whatever, you really do get pulled into this community of like-minded folk. Like we're all the same nerds. We all like the same games and stuff, and
100%.
different games or whatever. But at the same time, we enjoyed the whole experience of cardboard on the table, and it really is neat to get to meet people face to face, or even not face to face, but through the wonders of the internet. Hanging
Yeah.
out and connecting that way. Have you been able to go to any events now that the pandemic? I mean, it's not over, but it's there's more open public events. Have you been able to go to any of those?
Yeah. I'd never really gone to a convention either
Oh,
before
okay.
before starting in like YouTube because
Yeah.
I was like, I can play games at home. That was my thing. Again, it's that sort of like I don't want to pay the expensive price. Like and so I was like, don't sell me things. But now I'm like really excited to go around to the booths and say like, hey, what are your upcoming games, like as sort of like a media contact. So I went to Origins, which was cool, and then I wasn't able to get to. I wanted to go to Gen Con and I wanted to go to PAX, but I had a contract that conflicted with both of
Mhm.
those. But just this past weekend, I went to a little convention called the Niagara Board Gaming Weekend. It takes place in Niagara Falls, Ontario, just across the border, and it was great. It's just a big board game meetup. So I got to play a lot of games, a bunch of games. My mandate was like, hey, you must play only things you haven't played, and so I was able to like really get a wide swath of stuff. So that was fun.
Nice.
That was a really good time. Those sort of like local conventions, I feel like the big ones are fun, and I'm
Yeah.
excited to attend like the bigger ones. But just having like a local convention where it's like 3 days, all you can play,
Yeah.
right? Like that's the sort of stuff that I really like. Yeah.
Yeah. So every the big one, of course. So we've got Gen Con, in Indianapolis, once a month or once a year,
Hmm.
and that one it's funny because I always think, okay, when I start going, it's like, yeah, I can't wait. 3 days of straight gaming, blah blah blah, and I end up in so many meetings, Chris. Like it was just
Right.
like meeting after. It's like, oh my gosh, like the entire week is gone. It's like, what happened? I played like maybe 3 games, and it
100%.
yeah, it is what it is. That it's the life we've chosen. You take the meetings, you got to do it. Real quick,
Yeah.
I just had to ban someone in chat. There, folks, we got some silliness in chat. I have moderators. If you can take care of that, go ahead and ban. I had to clear chat because we had someone doing some stuff. So yeah, ixnay on all that stuff, and hopefully
Mm.
everything's
Yeah.
working now. Yeah, okay, no worries. Thank you for taking care of that. I tried to ban
Thanks,
someone right
chat.
now. Yeah, thank you, chat, for looking out.
Yeah.
Sailnet says asking for more music videos. Chris, what do you think about that?
That is probably the video that I'm most proud of on my channel. I did a rap to Childish Gambino's Freaks and Geeks.
Yeah,
So I called it Geeks and Geeks, and I wanted to make it all board game centric, but I wanted to make it really hard on me to write. So I also decided to make it alphabetical, and I also decided to film it like the Freaks and Geeks video, and also try to replicate like the flow, like the very similar flow
yeah,
of Childish Gambino in that, like his rhythms and his pacing and even like word choices I was trying to be aware of. I really like hip hop and rap, and I've like done some writing a bit on the side.
nice.
So that took me like it took me like 2 to 3 months to write because I was like, can I use this word? No, I can't use that word. It's not associated with a game. I was like, okay, I got to figure out a different thing to say. Um,
It's
I've
so
got I
amazing. Yeah, and folks,
yeah,
if you
I'd
haven't
like
seen
to
it,
do more.
I'm dropping a link in chat. Y'all go check that out when you have a chance. It's amazing, seriously. Uh,
Uh,
so can we see? Do we see anything in the future? Near, I mean, are you going to go back to Childish Gambino? We're looking at someone else, or
Yeah, I don't know. I've got a couple ideas that I want to do that I just haven't had time to do. I want to do like a
yeah,
board game 100, and because I have a beat. I was on this on Reddit making hip hop. I used to do like their little 16 bar challenges. They
yeah,
give out a beat and like a theme, and you just write 16 bars to it. Um,
nice.
and so I have a beat from there. I think that like is kind of a fun beat, and you know those sort of like rap. I don't know how much people know about rap, but there's all those sort of like yeah, yeah, like it's
Uh,
kind of like that I guess that like Migo style.
yeah,
But I kind of want to do one for the board game top 100 because all I have of it right now is just because there's two versions of Agricola on it
yeah.
and two versions of Twilight Imperium on it. I hear like the chorus in the back of like Agricola, 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 Imperium, Imperium. Agricola, Agricola, right? And like that's sort of stupid. As like
Third
as kind of like the
edition.
yeah, yeah, that like underbeat.
Yeah,
Just because of the two versions both being in the top 100, I thought that was dumb and
that
funny.
is
So
brilliant. I love it. Folks, can
so
we get a
that's what I'd
clip of
like to
that? We
do.
need a clip of Chris. So that could be the first thing you've heard of right here for the next
Uh,
video.
and then also some of my patrons pitched like doing board game rap battles. So I would love to see how that like kind of epic rap battles of history style
Yeah.
if you're familiar, and either do that with like content creators or like board games against each other. I haven't figured that out yet,
Oh, I
but
love it. Yeah.
we can get together. Well, we'll do a R and
I
R.
yeah, the R we got
The R and
we got the
R,
matching
the R and
hoodies. I
R
mean,
face
we're
off.
good.
Yeah, that's it. I'll tag team it in. Yeah, that'd be good.
Oh, I love it. That's so cool. Okay, folks, you got an extended trivia for y'all. So I think we've paid our dues for the trivia.
That's true. That was the
Yes.
trivia,
Well,
wasn't it?
thank you, Chris. So that was Trivial Pursuits. We've got a Ruel Ranks from Brenner. So why don't we do a ranks? And Chris, we're gonna do this together. We're gonna rank some of my collection together.
Let's do it. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
let
we need.
me.
Well, I feel bad. I feel like I've talked too much, Ruel, and so I want the focus to be on you for a Ruel ranks. So
Okay. Yeah.
let's get it.
Well, here's the thing. I'm like totally sweating through this hoodie right now because I'm trying to do what Richard does on the R&R show, which is, produce it and make sure everything's going on
Yeah.
without the whole thing just blowing up in my face. But so far, so good. Knock on wood, folks. So
So far, so good.
let's go to Ruel Ranks and maybe, I mean, I don't know if the muse strikes you, Chris, if you want to rap about any of these titles, then feel free, my friend.
I'm a horrible freestyler. I'm so bad at freestyling. That's why it took me 2 to 3 months, not even an exaggeration, of trying to write. Because I'm like, no, that doesn't work. No, doesn't work. Yeah, I
Okay.
would not put that clip out into the internet.
Oh, I
Um,
just
uh,
put the okay. Here we go.
so
All
I
right.
would lose my credibility forever.
No worries. All right. So the Ruel Ranks, folks. What we do is we're gonna select a few games from my collection and we're gonna rank them because I'm trying to rank all the games in my collection like Richard does. Chris, do you rank your games?
I don't rank them at all.
Do you,
We did one of those when I was on here, and he
okay.
had everything to choose from except like 2 or 3 games where I was like, "Yeah, you have to get the points to move up." I don't rank them whatsoever.
Yeah, and I was like the same way. I was like, oh, whatever. But now I'm fully invested. I'm trying to rank all my collection thanks to viewers at home and Richard's inspiration. So I'm going to let's see. Let's go here, folks. Anything that catches your eye, let me know. We've got starting here, Catan Junior. We got Burncycle, Prehistories. That's a game by what's his name? I forget the gentleman's name. Benoit. He's the designer of Welcome to. That's his
Mm,
tile laying game, Prehistories.
cool,
We've got Happy City, we've got Keepers, Dead Reckoning, a John D. Clare game.
nice.
Teletom, Green Team wins. Let's see if anyone has said anything. Brenner
Not
says,
yet.
"We'll eventually get your whole collection ranked well." Yeah, one of these days we will. Probably in
One of
about
these days.
about 10
What
years
should we
from
do,
now.
Brenner?
Yeah, let's see, and we can start a poll. Let me go to that section here.
Happy
Uh,
City. We got Super Skill Pinball. Do you
Ooh,
have
Super
Super
Skill
Skill
Pin.
Pinball?
I do. I have a few editions of that, which we should probably
Nice.
rank. So I really enjoy. Have you played any Super Skill Pinball?
No,
Okay,
no.
yeah, it's really good. It's another fantastic roll and write. Are you a pinball fan? Because if you like pinball, You'll
I
like,
wouldn't say
yeah.
I'm against pinball.
Okay.
I if I was at if I was at a place with a machine, I would be inclined to pin and
Okay.
or ball.
Well, that's good to know because you would enjoy super skill pin and or ball. Uh, let's see. Let me get this. Is that gonna show up on screen? That's my point.
Tiletum.
Okay.
I would say tiletum. Is it tiletum?
I always say Tealatum. Is it Tiletum?
Tiletum?
Yeah,
It's one. I don't know.
it's some kind of tum
It's one of
tum.
them.
Okay.
It's some sort of little tum tum.
Yeah. But you know what? I just saw. Okay, Doctor Prof 123. They're a regular here. Let's go with Happy City. We'll rank that one first.
Cool.
Let
Yep.
me click on that. Happy City.
Let's
Where
do
was
it.
it? Here it is. Happy City. You know, anytime I hear happy, the word happy, I think of that TikTok meme. You know, Happy Dog.
Mm.
Happy,
Oh
happy
yeah.
dog. Yeah, that's such a.
The hippie
It's
hippie
always in my
hippie hippie
happy,
hippie
happy dog.
dog.
All right. So Happy City. Let's take a look at this. Designer Toshiki Sato and Aru Sato from Cocktail Games, but I believe it was picked up by Game Right. It was picked up by Game Right. I picked this one up last year. Michelle and I. It was. Oh, you know what it was? It was on sale on Amazon. That's what it was. It was like I think $10
Nice.
US on Amazon. So I was like, come on, $10. You know, yeah, it's either a cup of
Gets on the
coffee or
list.
yeah, it's definitely on the list. So what this is, it's an engine building game, a super light engine building game, but it's a lot better than I thought. It's sort of got that what is that game, Machikoro feel to it, where
Mm.
you are placing cards into your little happy city, trying to make it as happy as possible, and you're gonna gather income and resources to build more buildings. And I believe it's a race to, I think it's like 10 buildings or something like that. But
Cool.
super light, but super fun, and you know it is called a delightful building games, and I would say it lives up to that, Chris. It is
I like the
definitely
art and the
delightful.
color.
Yeah, super colorful, super friendly. You know, you have a pirate ship, you have a dragon park. Come on, look at this. This is amazing. I would call this a gateway game for engine building. I mean, honestly, I'd prefer if I was going to take like a lighter engine building game, I'm going with like Fantastic Factories over this. But Happy
Hmm.
City, I believe if it's younger gamers or just new to games, I think this is a really good one to get to the table. And I'm going to rank it. Let's see. I don't have it ranked, so I'm going to go here. You all are going to see what I'm going to rank it. Where's the ranking? Here it is. So this is a 7. Oh, I've got to sign in. Y'all are you going to see my password? I hope not. Let's
Avert your
see.
eyes, everyone.
Yeah, close your eyes. Pretend you see it. You know, I think it's a little more than a 7. Chris, I'm going to go with a 7.19. I think it's a good game. Slightly
I was
better than, yeah, 7.19. We're going to go decimal points because that's what Richard does. So that is Happy City. Have you have any experience with this game, Chris, at all? Happy City?
no. I feel like I've heard of it, but just barely. What you've told me is more than I've ever known about it.
Okay, yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
super cool light game. It's got another one of those small box games, and it's relatively cheap. So a good family weight game for sure. All right, so great. Thank you for that, Brenner, for the Ruel Ranks.
nice.
Undo Pixels asking, is the giveaway wheel going to be spun? It is going to be spun, folks. We do have it set up. We're going to do it right before. Oh, you know what? We're almost on the hour. Why don't we do
We're
that now,
almost at the
Chris?
hour. Yeah,
Yeah, why don't we do that? Because we've got
that's
stuff to
it. That's
do.
all you get for ranking. You got to tune in next month to see
There
the
it
next
is.
ranks.
All right. So, friends, everyone's entered in the contest, and all we have to do is spin the wheel, and we are going to find out a winner for the $50 gift card from our friends at Fun Again Games. And here
Nice.
we go, around the
That's a
wheel.
good prize.
Isn't
Let's
that
get
cool?
it.
All right. Good luck, everybody. Let's see who wins. It is.
Thanks, Fun Again.
Yeah. The winner is N. Brody. Congratulations, friend. Richard will be contacting you via direct message, email, and you'll be getting your $50 gift card to Fun Again Games. All right.
Nice.
Cool. So
Great job, N. Brody.
yeah, well done. Chris, this has been fun so far. We got another. Now
This
we
is
can actually
great.
do the show.
Now we can do the show. Enough of the preamp. No, this is the best part, really.
Yeah, I really enjoy this. This is so much fun.
Yeah.
So let me make sure we got all this stuff set up. And folks, in chat, as we're doing this, if there's a raid or anything, please let everyone know that Chris and I are recording this. We will get back to, hanging out with you all when we're done. And if you have a question or a comment, start it with a question mark, because then it'll go into a queue, and then we can, get to that at the end of the show, and we'll hang out some more then. And then we'll raid someone else to continue the party here on Twitch.
Yeah.
Let me see. What do I have here? So I'm gonna just go through some things here, folks. You're gonna see the making of the sausage right now. So this is how we're gonna do it. I'm gonna go to this section here where I say hello, welcome to Rahdo Runs Through. We're gonna do Richard's video. Then we come here. You'll notice that the stuff for Twitch is all gone and the stream avatars are gone because we're gonna, this is being recorded for YouTube, and apparently YouTube folks don't want to see all the little avatars running around and stuff. So sorry
They're
about that,
fools.
folks. Yeah,
They're
that's
fools.
what are you gonna do? And then we go over here. We're gonna. Oh, that's not gonna show up. I'll put the other screen there. So there's the avatars. Before we get going, we have to do the battle royale.
Oh yeah.
Battle royale. Good luck.
I almost won. I almost won in
Oh,
my
did you
first
really?
episode. I was
Oh.
second.
Nice. Wow.
So
okay, here we are. Everyone's gonna be dropped in, and you're gonna fight, and
all right,
we'll see who's gonna survive.
let's do it.
Wow, a lot of y'all here today. Look at this.
Got to take a closer look.
Yeah. You want to call the action, Chris, or I can't see anything.
Yeah, I can't see the names. I'll call them by their. Who's that giant scientist Afro dude?
Yeah, is that?
They're good.
Oh.
My money's on them because they're so big.
Yeah.
Oh no,
I
see my nemesis. I think that hat, the wizard in the hat, the scarecrow. That one. I think I'm already dead. I'm out of here.
Morgan Geek is coming in with a party
TV.
Welcome, BGG.
Welcome. You're just in time for the show, but first we have the death match. Yes. One of the greatest death matches of all time.
Look at this.
That friggin'. Here we go. They're gonna be taken down. Who do we got? Can we see their names? We've got Jason. We've got Jason versus a scarecrow plumber.
Oh, it's Andrew Scott versus Flashburn.
Yeah, let's go Flashburn. Andrew Scott almost took me out. Took down my health too much. Andrew Scott. Well, I understand. He almost took me out last time. Yeah. I did take him out. He was third last time, if I remember. Andrew Scott's a fighter. He'll get you. He just won't let go.
So congratulations, Andrew Scott. Enjoy the 100 geek gold or gold bits, and you can use that to customize your character. Folks, you've been regenerated. You're good to go. BGG TV, thank you for the raid. I'm Ruel Gaviola, joined by Chris George. This is the R&R Show here on the Rahdo Runs Through channel. What we're going to be doing today is a very special episode. We've got a very special episode. Now I sound like one of those old school, this is a very special episode of whatever comedy is. Like, I always think of like Family Ties when they had that serious episode with, I don't know, maybe I'm dating myself. Do you remember that, Chris? Do you remember Family Ties?
I remember Family Ties. I don't remember the specific episode though.
It was the one where like Alex was like had to go see a psychiatrist or something because his friend had died, and so instead of a comedy show, it became like super serious. It was like, what are we watching? But
this is going to be our super serious special episode. Welcome to the party, Board Game Week TV. You do not know what you just signed up for. There's going to be some drama and sadness and nothing but tears.
Exactly.
Happy to have you.
Which leads us to the top of our show. It's going to be the greatest disappointments of 2022.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's it.
If you're tuning in to see Rahdo, you may be. We're all disappointed he's not here, but he is going to be here through the wonders of video. So stick around, friends. Selnet says the after school special edition. That is correct. Yeah. Okay. So let me make sure we got everything good to go here, Chris. I hope we do. Again, folks in chat, if something goes haywire, just drop one of those stickers and let us know, and that'll cue up some sounds in my ear to say, "Hey, Ruel, something needs to be fixed," and hopefully
we can re-up and
go
for it.
I'll do this. Let me change. We are no longer in the pre-show. We're going to the real show, the R&R show, and
let's do it.
We are going to go
to
the
side.
Yes, that's going to be the one here, and then cool. And then, Chris, you have your games ready. We're doing the top 15 disappointments of 2022.
That's true.
Okay, cool. So we're going to go. Let me get this. We are good to go. Actually, no, we're not. This here. This is enthralling, folks. I'm sure you're enjoying.
We're close, but we are close.
Poking a bunch of buttons here. Where is I gotta find your list. I'm listing your list, Chris, which is here, I think. Nope, it's not there.
I can send it to you if you need.
Yeah, if you could, that'd be great. Actually, we're good. I just found it.
Oh, great.
Okay, cool. Let me just copy and paste.
They say, tell us a joke, Chris.
Yeah, there you
Um,
go.
okay. What's the difference between ignorance and apathy?
Oh,
I
what
don't
is the
know.
difference between ignorance and apathy?
I don't know. I don't care.
Friends, please clip that. Please clip. There it is. Yes, thank you for the LOLs, friends. Okay. On that note, we are going to get ready. So, what are we going to do? Do the intro, and it's going to go straight to Richard's video with his like a little minute-long intro, and then come back to me and Chris, and we're going to talk about our great, their 15 most our 15 greatest disappointments of 2022. Okay, Chris, we good to go?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Whoop. Hey everybody! Today on the Rahdo Runs Through, we're doing the R&R Show with a special guest. But first, a note from our friend Richard Ham.
Hey everybody, welcome to the R&R Show, which is a very, very special episode of the R&R Show because of timing and weather. As it happens, here's the deal, folks. This week is my wife's birthday, and originally we weren't planning on doing anything special to celebrate, but we just found out there are going to be 3 days straight of solid sunny weather out on the coast, and we've been wanting to get back in our RV for a while. And so, if all goes according to plan, we should be on the road by the time you are seeing this episode. I wasn't able to be there for the live broadcast, but fortunately, Chris George of Room and Board has stepped in again. Thank you very much, Chris. Chris and Ruel, I cannot wait to see what you've come up with, but folks, I am pre-taping my entry, so you're getting a top 15 today. Very, very exciting. I've got to get to work on that right now because we got to get ready to go. So, without any further ado, Ruel and Chris, take it away.
And hello, friends. Welcome to the R&R Show. My name is Ruel Gaviola, joined by Chris George. Chris, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing fantastic. I summoned the gods of weather so that I could make sure that I could get my way in here once again on the R&R show.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm thrilled to be here. I'm thrilled I was asked back, and I'm just thrilled that we get to hang out this time, Ruel,
Right?
because last time I was stuck with Richard, and now I got the cream of the crop.
Thank you, man. Thank you. And you know, we happen to be on the same team today. I mean, the red hoodies. I mean, I don't know. It wasn't planned, but we're just on the same wavelength, Chris. Right?
That's true. Also, a great game. That would not hit my top disappointments of whenever that came out, because that game is fantastic.
Exactly. All right. So, friends, we are going to be talking about our top 15 disappointments of 2022, top 15 disappointments of 2022. And Richard's not here, as you saw in the intro there, but he is here via video. So we're going to be kicking things off, and we're going to talk about our 15 disappointments of 2022. Now, we should sort of preface this by saying that, you know, the disappointments they may not be the games themselves or the it's at least for
sure.
me they sort of fell flat for me, at least on my list, you know, and that doesn't mean they're bad games or bad designers or whatever. Just certain games didn't jive with me. Chris, you have any feelings on your disappointments as well?
Yeah, how I wanted to make my list and approach them is more games, not that necessarily are bad games, and I actually like quite a few aspects of a lot of the games on my list, but I think it's games where I was really excited for them and then didn't quite meet those expectations, right? Like
Yeah.
that's a different conversation, and that's a more interesting conversation to have too, I think. Because these games might hit really well with some people, and if so, that's great. I'm thrilled that people are having a great time with them. But for me, they weren't exactly what I was expecting to. So kind
Ye-
of like we were saying, right? It's not necessarily a bad game, but more just like didn't hit the mark for me. And then talking about why that is, because we're all different and we all like different things, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's so true. You know, something that hit with me may not have hit with you, or may have hit with Richard, and so forth.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's what we're going to talk about today, friends. Disappointments. It says, I think it says a lot about our expectations, as far as games are concerned. So, Chris, I'm going to let you lead off, my friend, with it's going to be our combined list. So we usually do top 10s here, but with Richard, we're doing another 5, so 15, folks. You get more bang for your buck here. So, Chris, your number 15, friend. Let's start with that. Your disappointments of 2022.
My disappointment, my number 5 disappointment, and this is for a lot of outside purposes, and I'll try not to talk too long because we've got 15 to go through and not just 10. So I gotta make sure I don't. You can play the music and get the cane to pull me off stage whenever you need. But yeah, my number 5 was a game that I was quite excited for. It funded on Kickstarter in 2019. Better just double check that this is my number 5. Well, it is now. It's Trudvang Legends by Come On. That's my number 5, and this isn't for the reason why some people might think. I think this game has actually gotten a bit of a bad rap, or bad rep rather, because people have been a bit underwhelmed by the story. For me, the story has given me almost exactly what I want. It's a very simple choose your own adventure style game. You're going to take the role of a character. You're going to go to various spots on the board. And when you're at that spot on the board, if there are no monsters, you can kind of like investigate the area. And then you'll read a passage and you'll be faced with a decision. And the decisions have been fun. I actually have been enjoying the gameplay, but I was very disappointed with the quality of the actual physical components for this one. That's my main disappointment for this. And it's not necessarily the minis, because you're also waiting for like the additional Kickstarter stuff, but it's a bag builder, right? And so being a bag builder, you're going to be drawing these tokens out to see how you can activate your character's abilities. And you have like the world's weirdest bag and the world's like smallest tokens, that like it's so unsatisfying to pull things from this bag, and it like was detracting my experience. Like, oh, no, I gotta go into the bag where my tokens are getting caught in the crease of the bag, where I have to yank them out, or maybe I just stuff all my bad ones in there and then I just break the game. Like it's mind boggling to me. Come On, I really love Come On as a company. I do. I find their games really hit with me. Some people don't like Come On, but I do. I like the minis. I like the pomp and circumstance. I like the epic nature of a lot of their games. But for me, like, they need to step up their game in terms of storage. The cards have no place to be put back. They don't even include bags where you can hold like actual plastic bags in it, where you can store the 16 different types of tokens. This was a problem with Massive Darkness 2 as well. I had to throw the whole thing, not the whole thing out, but the storage out and make my own storage solution. And I think when you're a company of this standard and you're putting out this sort of stuff, the lack of care on the actual user experience is almost inexcusable at this point. I think so. This is almost like, this is my way of calling them out of how unsatisfying. Like, I think the games are good. I think Trudvang it's fine. It's what I was expecting. It's not. It's not a mind-blowing story, which I think people were looking for. But I don't want that. I didn't want that. I just wanted to read a little small passage of text and get on with like the battler, right? I enjoy the game as like a lightweight thing, but I think if you purchase it at that price point, and you open it up and then you're trying to stuff the cards back in this weird spot that like they don't fit, and it just doesn't lend itself. It doesn't put itself on the right foot, especially when there are so many publishers who are investing in like game trays and investing in different storage solutions and making their game accessible and making it easy to pull off the shelf. Come On, Trudvang doesn't care about that whatsoever. So that was like the really disappointing aspect of that, the major disappointment. But I think the gameplay is fun, but I couldn't stop thinking about these little nitpicks as I was playing. And especially in this deluge of campaign games, you have to stand out. And I think it's putting itself on the back foot, is another reason why people might not be gravitating towards it as with some of these other games.
And I know, I remember it's sort of, landed with a thud. When it came, it seemed like it was just sort of like, okay, yeah, it's out, but then
Yeah.
now it's like people have already moved on, unfortunately. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's
I think
unfortunate. Yeah.
it suffered a lot from delays, right? It was in
Yep.
2019, and then they said we're going to take a year and make this game better because they weren't happy with it. And I think they should be commended for that, for
Yeah.
sure. Like they could have delivered the game and just delivered it and be like, we're done. They've gone
Mhm.
the extra mile to like do two-wave shipping to try to get the game out sooner. I actually I won a copy of this game before I started even doing YouTube and doing content creation.
Mhm.
I added my friend is in there as a character. Like it was like name a character contest, and I won it. So I won a copy, and then I added on a
Wow.
bunch of other stuff because I was so excited that I won a copy. It was a good marketing
Yeah.
technique
Yeah.
for them. I
Totally.
was like, great, now like I can justify purchasing a whole bunch because I'm getting a discount. Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
but yeah,
okay. What that's number 15, Trudvang
that's number
Legends.
15. That's number
Well done.
15.
Cool.
What you got,
Let's go on
Ruel?
to our number 14. Now, this one, this was from my list, my contribution to the list. It is number 14. Now, again, this is not a bad game whatsoever. And actually, I like this game, but I didn't like it at a certain player count. The game is number 14 on the list, combined list, Decorum. Now, this is a cooperative game. It's, let me see, let me get it on the screen here. It is a cooperative game where you're trying to build like the nicest home, like get the decor all nice and neat, and so the way that you want it to match up. And everyone has expectations, like you see there in the card. Expectations as far as what color or what items you want to in a certain particular room. It's got this really cool mechanism like limited information. So you're basically saying, well, I don't know, I don't like this part in this room, I like this part in this room, and with your fellow players, you're trying to eventually come up with the right combination of factors in order to score the most point or to achieve the victory conditions. So I think it's a really clever game, and I like Floodgate games a lot. And actually, Richard raved about this one. Him and Jen
Hmm.
really enjoyed this. I like this at 2, and I think I should preface this by saying I liked it at 2, but when I played it at, I think it was a 4 or 5 player game, it went on way too long. It was like
Yeah.
it totally overstayed its welcome. And that was such a disappointment for me because I wanted to play this game with more players. But then when we actually did, and we did some of the harder levels or whatever, it was like, whoa, this is like, it should be a 30-minute game at tops. And it was extended over an hour. And I'm like, for me, it just killed the game at that higher player count. But the game itself, I mean, I really think it's clever. I think it's really well done for 2 players, maybe 3. As you can see there, you have your different rooms, and you're trying to, you're collecting pieces, trying to put them down. You have your secret objectives, and you're trying to make sure that matches up with as many people as possible. So, Decorum, folks, it fell flat for me at the higher player counts, but I did like the lower player count. Chris, were you able to play this game?
No, I haven't played it, but I've heard great things about it.
Yeah.
But that's always tough about player count, right? Like I understand why publishers want to often like to stretch out the player count because it's easier to sell a game that has more options or more potential, even though
Mhm.
it hits really good at a certain spot and then doesn't with another one. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's too bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like it was designed as a 2 player game, and then like, oh, we should probably bump it up to 3 or 4 to
Right.
appeal to a greater audience. But that's unfortunate. But again, it's the 2 player game I thought was terrific. So that's
Cool.
one of my disappointments of 2022. Let's move on to our friend Richard Ham. Richard is going to join us via video right now.
Okay, number 13 on the list is Wormholes. And I gotta say, folks, I went into this so excited because it's from designer Tim McPherson, publisher AEG, and what have they given me when they've worked together in the past? Tiny Towns, which is in my top 50 games of all time. I love Tiny Towns so much, so I was so excited for this. Even if I was a little nervous going in because it's a pick up and deliver game, and that tends to be one of Jen's and my least favorite mechanisms. But I will say, this is an excellent pick up and deliver game, and if you like pick up and deliver, it's worth checking out. unless maybe you're in the same situation as me. Because the reason I was disappointed is actually the second half of a session of this game is fantastic. Once the wormholes have been built, it becomes this really fun network of shortcuts to take all over the galaxy as you're zipping around trying to pick stuff up and deliver it elsewhere. The problem is, players have to build that network of wormholes. And in a two-player game, it takes a long time before you've got an interesting network full of interesting decisions to make. And that's what disappointed me. I so wish a tiny bit more work had been done as a two-player, because I suspect at a higher player count game, this doesn't really exist. In a two people have to do the work of more players to get all the wormholes built. At a four-player game, those wormholes are popping up twice as fast. So I kind of wish the two-player mode had some kind of like rapid start where, hey, let's just pre-seed the board with some wormholes that belong to a third party or something like that, just to get it up and running faster. Because the first third or the first half of the game as a two-player game is just, it's kind of slow, and we're kind of feel like we're just going through the motions. And then in the second half, oh, it gets good. So that's why I was a little disappointed. Didn't even film a run through. Thank you, Ruel. You and Michelle did a great demonstration of the game on your channel. And folks, you should go check it out to get an idea. But regardless, that's number 13 on the list, Wormholes.
Okay, thank you, Richard. 13 wormholes. I'm gonna have to agree. As much as I like Peter McPherson's games, that one just sort of fell flat for me. And I think Michelle and I had the same problem. Like, we enjoyed the pick up and deliver, but there really should have been some kind of like kickstart at the beginning of the game where you can pre-seed stuff and get the action flowing a little quicker. Were you able to play that one?
No, they sent out a call and they're like, "Hey, does anybody want to review this game?" And I read the rule book and I said, "Probably not." That's what I remember. That's what I remember about Wormholes. I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm in." No,
No.
there wasn't anything about. I read through a lot of rule books, and I didn't really. There wasn't anything that really jumped out at me about it. But it's funny, we were just talking about player count, and that seemed to be like yours and Richard's like main qualm with that one. Though.
Yeah, funny that would happen. Hey, spoiler alert! We've got a number 12 that I'm already showing here on the screen. Chris, why don't we talk about your number 12 here, friend?
My number 12. Okay, let me make you guys guess. It's a line of games that's been out for a little while. This actually is in 2021, but it released in like November 2021. So I played it in 2022, and like a lot of coverage came out in 2022. So I'm putting it as 2022. This is Chronicles of Crime 2400, and it's not that I don't like Chronicles of Crime. I remember with Chronicles of Crime came out and I played the first one, I was like, oh man, I feel like everybody was talking about it. Everybody had that same sort of like, wow, this is cool. This is innovative. Kind of sent Lucky Duck on that path of these app-driven scan and see what happened style of board games that they've done now with like Destinies and their new one, The Dark Quarter. Like you can see the imprint and the inspiration of Chronicles of Crime, like as we've moved forward. And I think it's kind of like a really innovative and exciting game. And so really enjoyed playing Chronicles of Crime. Played that with my girlfriend Renee, and then we played Chronicles of Crime 1400. She got that one for me for my birthday, and I was like, great. Well, she got that one for her for my birthday. But it was like great. We had a really fun time with it. But I think so. We've worked our way through a lot of these Chronicles of Crime, but when we hitting 2400, I feel like we're getting to the point of diminishing returns in that Chronicles of Crime is system, right? The same sort of area. And so I think because I've seen so much of it now going to the 2400, I was expecting something new, right? Something new and exciting. You have those little shifts. You have like the robotic implants that you can find throughout the game. And that's kind of cool. But I think it was a combo of not getting enough newness in this new system to feel like it warranted a new system, which could be they had the Kickstarter for all three at once, and then they released the scenarios when they were done too. And so I don't know if this one felt just like a little less inspired than the previous ones, or because I played it. Our neighbors are big board gamers as well, so we play games with them, and they tried Chronicles of Crime, and they didn't really like it at 2 player. And I was like, no, it's great. You're gonna see, like, let's take 2400. We'll go over. It's gonna be awesome. We played at this 4 player, and then even at that 4 player count, which I'd never played before, it felt like there wasn't enough to do, and I was like, oh.
Oh, okay.
Again, talking about that player count issue, right?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I much prefer this as a 2 player, or even now as a solo, where I can just read through the story, go do my scanning, try to
Mhm.
figure out what's going on, and not have to like uh, make sure everybody is engaged with like the storytelling aspect of it. So that's why this one hits on the disappointments. If you haven't played Chronicles of Crime, if you haven't played any of them, check it out. I think the original is just great. I mean, I
Oh
think you
yeah.
would probably enjoy 2400 as well if it's your first one.
Mhm.
But I think with the amount that I have played, it kind of was that realization of like, okay, maybe I'm done with this system for a while,
Yeah.
right? Like I
Yeah.
might have overdosed on it a bit. I might have had too much of it, and
Right.
so that's why I wanted to. That's why this one jumped out at me a little bit, because of that experience as well. Of like, okay,
Yep.
I'm not seeing the reason to keep coming back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
And,
so
and
that's my number 4, or whatever our number is. Number 12. That's
number
our number
12.
12.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing, right? You have these successful franchises, right? And you would like
Hmm.
to see them continue to innovate and stuff. But sometimes they're not always going to take a leap forward. They're just going to sort of rehash things because
Yeah.
I love Chronicles of Crime. I thought the original was great. But
Yeah.
I can see that I have not played 2400, but I can see that where it's like, oh, they're just sort of like, staying the course. And hopefully in the next series, they'll come up with some new stuff. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Because, yeah,
I'm
it's a
still
great
excited
series.
to try the Chronicles of Time, because I have
Hmm.
all the 3, and it uses all of them and mixes them together. I'm like, okay, that could be neat.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah,
So
it feels a bit formulaic at this point. And
understood.
which
Yep.
is fine. Like
Yep.
it depends what you're looking for. It depends what you like. And if you
Yeah.
want more of the same and you want more of that comfort feeling, and then it's perfect for you.
Yeah.
But if you want like the next level, it wasn't that for me, and that's what I was expecting, and therefore that expectation was not met, which
Got
is
it.
why
Yeah.
it hits the list.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah,
what's interesting too about you're talking about disappointments. I'm still gonna play this because I like
yeah,
Chronicles of Crime, and I love
yeah,
I think this theme talks to me a little more, the whole sci-fi
nice,
thing. So this one I'm
yeah.
looking forward to. What great choice, Chris. It is what it is. Let's move on to our number 11. This
Let's
one,
do it.
talking about disappointments. I love sci-fi, and this one was a disappointment for me, even though I love sci-fi. Burncycle. I was so fired up to try this. It hits on all the buttons for me. It's a heavier game. It's sort of got a Euro dungeon crawl feel to it. Let me go to the videos because actually, let's see, where is it? Video. Our friend Shay Parker here on the channel and myself, we did a video of it for Rahdo Runs Through, and here it is here. I went over to
Nice.
Shay's place and we played the game. I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it as much as I wanted to. It is a heavier game, and here's the thing: I don't mind heavier games, Chris, but
Hmm.
when the rule book has, and it just didn't. To me, Burn Cycle did not seem intuitive. There was a lot
No.
of like edge cases, and like
Yeah.
a lot of times, Shay is excellent with rules, and even with Shay, we were like, oh, we need to look things up and stuff, and we need to, and I understand that's part of the appeal to heavier games. Like, oh, really, you're gonna get your brain burned on this. But I thought, to me personally, it really it was an obstacle to the gameplay. It was a challenge to get through, and most of the time, I felt like not only here on when Shay and I did it, but also on my channel when I played a solo game of it, most of the time I was going back to the rule book and going back to the rule book, going back to the rule book, which is fine. And maybe after like 10 plays, you'd have it all ingrained in your head. But at
Yeah.
this point in my life, Chris, like I'm losing brain cells by the second. I need those rules to be ready to go right then and there. I mean, these games, like Burn Cycle, the production is out of this. It's outstanding. It's amazing.
It's
Poker chip
excessive.
styles. Yeah, it's expensive. It is definitely not one of those cheap games, and it's an investment. So you really have to invest the time to get into this, and I think I want to say it'll be worth it, but for me overall it was a disappointment because of the limit of time that I have these days, and
Yeah.
just trying to get through that rule book. Now I know that they do have a tutorial, which was a good tutorial, but even during the tutorial, I felt like things were missing. Like, oh, I want to do all the
They
cool
don't
stuff.
cover enough.
Yeah, I was like, ugh. So hopefully, I mean, I know it's gotten other people really enjoyed it, and I know at the end of the day, Shay really enjoyed this game, and my friend Nick Murphy from the Brothers Murph, this was his game of the year. So I can see people really enjoying it. It is a puzzle of a game. It's a heavier game, but unfortunately, the rules were like a really big impediment to me, and that's why it was one of my disappointments of the year. Burncycle.
Yeah. I found with the rule, but I've also played Burncycle. I did a review of it too, and the tutorial rule book was just it wasn't good enough. It was not good enough because it didn't explain certain things, and you had to figure out, like, your second and third play, they're finally dropping in. It was a tough rule book to get through, and so many little edge cases, like you were saying, that I enjoyed it as well. I didn't enjoy the trouble game on the side. I enjoyed the heist part of it. But the trouble thing kind of brought it down for me. Yeah, it's a really tough one. It's one where, like, the powers of the robots make me want to go back and experience them all and try them all out. And then like, it's that back and forth. So I like Burnside. I still have it. I still will probably play it again. Like, my friends really enjoyed it as well, and so they're like, "Oh yeah, I can't wait to get that back to the table." I was like, "Yeah, totally." Good. I feel like if you have somebody who is, you want to play it with someone who's learned it, who's gone through that, like, who's gone through that struggle, and then you can just enjoy while they do all the managing, and are like, "What the heck?" And you're just like, "Let me upgrade my powers and roll my dice." La, 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 la.
Yeah,
that's how you want to get it. Yeah, totally. That's how you want to get it.
So basically,
but on the other side,
I'm gonna fly out to Toronto, Chris, and you're gonna take care of it, so I can just do the robot stuff.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah,
cool. Okay, let's move on to our number 10. Richard's got one coming up right now.
Okay, everybody. Number 10 on the list is Starship Captains, which, again, I was so excited for going into it because I've never really done a poll on this, but I feel like I've got to be one of the biggest Star Trek fans in all of board game media. So this game, which is a love letter to Star Trek from one of my favorite publishers of all time, of course it's going to be fantastic. And don't get me wrong, it does what it sets out to do beautifully. It's just not what I wanted to do. In this game, you are the captain of a starship, and really, it's less about the starship and more about your crew that you're managing with this really brilliant worker placement system that is all about queuing up workers to be in the right place at the right time so you can get peak efficiency of your engineers and your pilots and your security officers and all the rest of it, and your ensigns. And I love the worker placement system. I love the sense of humor. I love the variability from the different, every time you play, there's 3 different objectives there that the players are racing for. What let me down? Well, a big part of it is, I think, gonna really come to play at a lower player count, at 2 player. The galaxy is so big, players never really tend to run into each other very much. And as a result, I talked about this in the final thoughts that I did with Kimberly. We go into it quite a bit. The end result, I really felt like the game was too full of little baby steps. Like, okay, I just do one little thing and now I gotta wait for you to go before I can do my little thing again. And it's not like anything you do affects me at all. And I kind of felt myself wishing there was an alternate mode that played more like Dominion, if you can imagine. Because if you can imagine Dominion where, oh, I've got my hand of cards. I play one card and then I gotta wait for everybody else to play. I play another card, I gotta wait for everybody else to play. I'd rather just play my whole hand and then move on. Now, Kimberly rightly pointed out that at a higher player count, the galaxy can be so dynamic. Players can make so many changes that it makes sense to be a bunch of little baby steps. But as a 2-player game, the galaxy is not very dynamic. And it really, I mean, Jen and I were just spending so much time just like, can we just go? Also, I've seen this in a couple other games. It includes a brilliant little system for the solo game where you can have passengers on your ship. And I wish that was there for the main game too, because my other thing is this is clearly designed to be a gateway game. And so if you or your loved ones or anybody you know love Star Trek and are new to board games, this is great for that. But for an old Euro fan like me who wants heavier, crunchier stuff, I just want to see a little bit more. And I wish those passengers from the solo game worked their way into the main game. Now here's the deal, folks. This is CG. They're known for making expansion content, and I'm hoping, fingers crossed, this will get an expansion that really ratchets up the level of depth so it gets a little bit more crunchy. Maybe introduces passengers to the main game. And I would so love a variant rule set where on my turn I can just play all my cards rather than just tit for tat, back and forth, that just kind of drug it down for us a little bit. On the whole, it's great, and I suspect, and Kimberly makes a very good argument, and when she and I talked about it, it's going to be much more engaging, and those issues really don't come to the fore as much in a what do you call it? A higher player count game. But at 2 players, as a huge Star Trek fan, I was a little disappointed in number 10, Starship Captains.
Okay, so that was Rich's number 10. I got to play Starship Captains at Gen Con.
Nice.
And I liked it, but at this time, I felt it wasn't as strong a game that I expected. Now, granted, having said that, I should say that I was playing a prototype, so it was still a little early in production, but Richard played one that was a little later in production, and apparently he didn't like it quite as much. I think the action thing, how you use the workers, I think is really neat. But overall, I don't know. It fell, again, another game that fell flat with me. Chris, were you able to play Starship Captains?
No, I haven't played it. Your comments don't deter me from wanting to try it out,
Right,
though. I
yeah.
feel like it feels so thematic to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It feels like I like that sort of Trekkie world, and
Absolutely.
and so like I'm still interested in trying it out for myself. Even like those sorts of I like this because this is exactly what the show should be. Is that like, oh, here's some criticisms. That doesn't deter me. I'm
Right.
still excited to try it out. Like at Chronicles of Crime, that didn't deter you because it's great. It's Chronicles
Yep.
of Crime, right?
That's right.
So yeah, so I haven't tried it out, but I'm still excited. Even with that, I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I can get over
Exactly.
that. And you also kind of go in more knowing what to expect too, which is great.
Right. So true.
Yeah.
So true. Okay. So that was Richard's. Let's move on to yours now. This is going to be the number 9 on the list.
This is number 9 on the list.
Yeah.
Not spoiled yet.
Yeah. What do we have for number 9, my friend?
So number 9 is again in this larger series of things. This is a smaller iteration in a large series, and that's Unmatched Hell's Kitchen.
Wow.
Specifically, the Hell's Kitchen one. I hear a wow because I feel like this is going to be an argument.
Yeah,
Ruel.
I love Unmatched. So bring it, my friend. I need to hear why this didn't hit.
Well, that's the thing. I've heard so many good things about Unmatched. I haven't played a lot of Unmatched. I got to play this at Origins. They were demoing it at Origins, and I was like, great. I'm so excited. I can't wait to play Unmatched. And I think there's so many great things about the system. I love the line of sight in Unmatched. I think that is so user-friendly, and it deserves to be commended up the wazoo. I love variable character abilities. So I love the ability to plug and play. But my issue was, this is kind of like a 2-parter. The one that we played was Bullseye versus Luke Cage. Luke Cage is in the Redemption Row set with Ghost Rider and Moon Knight. I couldn't pick that one because Moon Knight and Ghost Rider, they seem like just better characters than Daredevil and Elektra, personally. But they do they fit with Moon Knight's shifting personalities. I don't know. Yeah. I can't comment too much on that, but this is my only sort of touch point of the Unmatched system is this game that I played at Origins, and my excitement for it was like up here. I didn't get to play like any games at Origins because I was running around trying to talk to everybody in terms of like a media capacity. And so I was like, great, we got this Origin. I have my friend here. Let's do it. Let's bang out a quick game of Unmatched. And then with Bullseye, Luke Cage just teleported to. I was Luke Cage. I just teleported to beside Bullseye, who's a range character, and I just proceeded to punch Bullseye in the face over and over again. And Bullseye couldn't do anything to stop it, like
Really?
Nothing at all. Yeah, just like a zero maneuverability. I'm like, he's a range character. He needs to escape. And so Luke Cage should be this lumbering guy who, once he gets up close, like that should be the interplay.
Wow.
But Luke Cage was just like, no, I teleport right beside Bullseye and I just wail on him until he's dead. And so both me and my friend were like I was happy I was Luke Cage. So of course I had a good time. But we were both like, oh, this is the example of characters that you're putting forward as as an example too, right?
Yeah.
And I get that they were put forward as an example because they seem to be a little bit more basic, and you didn't have the switching of the abilities of Moon Knight or like the
Yeah.
running down your deck of Daredevil, right? You want to put your demo foot forward. I understand the sort of confines in which that situation was put forward, but it was such a disappointment because
Since it's over.
I know that there is more out there for Unmatched, and I know that if I found the right set, right, or the fact that these sets might work well together, but then my critical eye comes in, and my worry becomes, okay, how well is the balance between all the characters as more and more characters come out, right? That's the
Mhm.
fear that gets put in with me, and I don't think, like, if you're a big Unmatched fan, you know all the stuff. This won't be an issue for you, right? You're gonna have a weird matchup, and you're just gonna go, oh, that was a weird matchup. The game is quick enough that you can just play a different one that will be better, right?
Right.
And like I really like the system. I like the flow of it. I like how the board is laid out. I like a lot of things about it, and I can see myself really liking the game. So I haven't like written it off.
Okay.
Um, I haven't written it off at all, and nor do I think it's a bad game. But I think when you have that potential for those weird swingy things, and especially when that's the demo you're putting forward, that I was like, oh, this was incredibly, it was incredibly underwhelming, and I wanted that flow, that back and forth. Or maybe that's
Yeah.
why they took those two characters, because it's a demo and they wanted people to be able to try it. So
Yeah.
like, great, this will be over quick. Luke Cage, go punch him in the face. You're like, now you know how it works. I'm like, okay, I know
Yeah.
how it works, but that doesn't really sell me on picking up both of these copies right now. Yes,
Yeah.
that was my one experience with the Unmatched system, and I haven't written it off. But you're an Unmatched fan,
I
Ruel?
am, yeah. So, and you know, what you've said is fair. Not all the Unmatched are created equally. There's, they have a ton of different characters. Most of them do have, some special abilities or different ways to play. And unfortunately for
Yeah.
that demo, yeah, it seems like you picked the ones that were the duds of the group, and it's unfortunate because I've had so many great games of this. Like you said, the system itself, it's really cool. It plays
Yeah.
quickly, and for a tactical skirmish game, you can get to the
Hmm.
table with hardcore gamers, new gamers, or whatever. And they're gonna have these IPs that maybe they weren't as developed as they should have been before they released. But I'm still excited to try Daredevil because that's one of my all-time favorite superheroes. Daredevil,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
So
Daredevil's freaking great.
yeah,
I'm so excited the series is coming back. Oh,
yeah,
it's
exactly.
gonna
Oh
be
my gosh,
awesome.
love that series. So yeah,
Yeah.
I hear you on this. I would love. I'm glad that you haven't written off the entire series because there
Yeah,
are some
I think it
really
was
good.
just
Yeah,
yeah, I think
there's
it was
some
just a
really good
weird
modules.
pairing, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, just one of those things. It's unfortunate, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely a disappointment when you come up with one character that just punches the other one in the face for that's the game. So,
Yeah.
all right, good call, Chris.
I mean, I
Let's.
still had a great time, but
Yeah,
my friend had a less than great time. So so I was like, and that makes me have a less than great time. Like you want a game like that ever to walk away being like, "Oh, that was cool." Like doesn't matter who wins.
right.
But
Yeah,
just that you felt like you had a chance, and that just
yeah,
could have been the one situation. It's a very small sample size, but
yeah,
I
and
felt
that's the
I
thing.
felt it
It's
worth pointing out. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely not fun if you're just, it's a one-sided match like that. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to our number 8. This is going to be off my
Number 8.
list. Yeah, number 8 is a game that was getting all the love last year, Scout. Friends, this may be a bit of a hot take, but Scout did not live up to expectations for me. I did enjoy the game. Now, here's the new version of it is from Oink Games, which always puts out fantastic
Mhm.
productions. And this is a game of it's a ladder climbing game, I believe is what you call it, where you're playing numbers,
Yeah.
sets of numbers in a sequentially or like numbers, like a pair of fives, pair of threes, or whatever. It's got a really unique system where you have your hand of cards, you do not shuffle them around. You can either play them, or you can, at the beginning of the round, you can flip them over, and there's another set of numbers which you can do. And you're trying to get rid of your cards. You play them sequentially, and you're going through it. And okay, this is the thing. This is totally on me. This is why I was disappointed. Just like Bonanza, the classic game from Uwe Rosenberg, Bonanza, where you get a hand of cards, you cannot move them. I am a poker player at heart, Chris, and I get a
Mm.
hand of cards, I want to start
You
shuffling them
gotta
around.
organize it. Yeah.
I don't know why I can't stop doing that. And there's been a couple of games of Scout where I've automatically done that. It's like, oh, I just ruined the round. Like now we got to reshuffle, redeal. So that's totally on me. But I don't know what it is. I like the game. I think the gameplay is neat. But it's not one of those games for me that I just want to play over and over like all my friends do. And I know I'm the oddball when it comes to this game. I'm the one dissenting vote, but it was a disappointment to me. Even I have a copy of the older edition, which is fine. I played the new edition, which is fine, but it's not one of those. I think I went in with expectations of this is game of the year, card game of the year, and it was fine. It was not a bad game. It wasn't a great game. It was just one of those games right there in the middle. That's why it's our number 8, Scout.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's going to be a lot of this list is games that have gotten a lot of attention and a lot of hype and are just good. You know,
Yeah.
I liked Scout when I played it. I played a couple hands of it and I thought, yeah, this is fun. But I don't feel as passionate about it with the fervor that a lot of people do. Like a lot of people are like, yeah, let's do Scout right now. I'm like, yeah, okay. If somebody wanted to play Scout, I'd play Scout. If somebody wanted to play something else, I'd happily play something else, you know?
Exactly. All right. Let's see what Richard's got up his sleeve for number 7.
Oh, the longer this list goes, the tougher it gets. My number 7 is Marrakesh, which is the latest from design superstar Stefan Feld, my favorite designer of all time. And it's so exciting to get a completely new original design from him. And this one brings back the cube tower that he used to such great effect in Amerigo. So you can imagine, folks, how, I was ready to crown this game of the year before I even played it. But then I played it. And it is great. But this is one of the only times I've ever played a Stefan Feld game, and I came away feeling like, boy, you know what? I think this is going to be better at a higher player count than 2. Because, well, I talked about this at great length in my final thoughts, but I mentioned the cube tower. Although in this game, it's a cylinder tower because you're dropping these little cylinders in every round, and that's what kind of randomizes the actions you do. Every player chooses 3. They all get dropped in the tower, and then we take turns drafting. And this is an important core thing that drives the game because often when the Keshis, they're called, come out of the tower and we're taking turns drafting them, I might want the ones you dropped in more than the ones I put in myself. And we take turns getting them, and then those drive the actual actions we can do on our board, and we're doing all kinds of stuff. It's very Trajan in that regard. Lots of different plates we're trying to keep spinning at once. The problem is, and this might just be a problem with my tower, because plenty of people have commented, oh, Rahdo, we didn't see anything like this. But my tower didn't work at all. No matter what. I tried adjusting all the shelves. I did everything possible. And no matter what, the Keshis never got stuck. Nothing ever stayed in the tower. So whatever we put in came right back out, and the tower served no purpose. Now, I should say, that's in a 2-player game when you're only dropping 6. We also played 3-player, and I did a bunch of 4-player tests too, dropping more and more Keshis in, and then suddenly my tower worked, and it became more interesting, and there was a lot more that could surprise you and confound you and trip you up because you thought, oh, X is going to happen, but what? Oh my gosh, this is even better than what I hoped. And that's the kind of excitement I wanted to see that pretty much disappears in the 2-player game. And at the same time, because the tower never holds anything back in the 2-player game, that makes the outcome a little bit more luck swingy than it would otherwise be due to the timing of how the draft works. And so, it broke my heart. The core gameplay is great. I played it as a 3-player game, thought it was amazing when the tower was actually working. Jen loved it regardless, and I could certainly see an argument to be made for it doesn't matter. The draft is important. Just, ignore the tower. Just always just draft all the stuff. But myself, I want to know I'm playing the game the way that the maestro, Stefan Feld, intended it. And I've never been able to get a straight answer. Well, how many things on average, if you're dropping 6, are supposed to get left in the tower? And because of that, when we played it, I'm always like, I don't know if this is right. I don't know if this is misbalanced because things aren't working the way they're supposed to. It certainly seemed like it. And so that just kind of created this overall air of, I'm just not sure if things are working right. And so, again, like I said, this could have just been my tower. I've heard from plenty of other people that their towers work just fine. So it's probably just a little personal disappointment, but still, it comes in at number 7 of the year for me, Marrakesh.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, folks. I did not expect to see a Stefan Feld
Stefan
game
Feld
on.
on
Yeah,
this
right.
list.
We're sort of shocked right now. A Stefan
You
Feld
heard it
game
here
on.
first.
Yeah.
But Richard does not like Stefan Feld games
Wow.
ever again.
Now it's interesting though. That he said he liked it at a higher player count, and
Mhm.
that makes sense. I feel like certain games. We've talked about this a few times on the show today, where
Yeah.
the player count really matters for certain games.
Yeah, seems like a very valid criticism. I haven't played Marrakesh yet, but
Me neither.
I
Yeah,
mean, like, let's be real. Stefan Feld is great. His games are fantastic, right?
exactly.
So it's about finding that where it hits in that great area, and
Yeah.
clearly just not at two. So try
Okay.
or just stuff more in there at the start.
Exactly. Cool. All right, let's move on to our number 6. Chris, it's up to you, my friend.
All right. So most of these games on the list, I can say good things about, and I can see how they could be played. But I gave myself one. I didn't make this my number one because I wanted to leave it on like there were good aspects to it. This game um, should not exist. This game I did not want. It was sent to me as part of a pack of small games to review, and so I had to do my due diligence to play it. This game is the pizza burn on the roof of the world's mouth. This game is the answer. Whenever somebody says, "Who hurt you?" this game is the answer. That's a little card game, if you can call it that, called Ouch.
Ouch.
It's yeah, this game hurts me physically. The game it should be barely called a game. I'm sorry, and honestly, I'm so happy that we talked about it in the pre-show to this. If you want to watch the extended edition, you can see we were talking a little bit before we got on stream about Devere Games and Red Cathedral, and it's by Devere
Yes.
Games. I'm so thankful that game is good, because I was ready. This game made me want to write off Devere Games entirely
Oh
because
no.
it's just okay. It's not that bad. I'm just being dramatic for the sake of being fun. It's You have a card and you grab an edge and you flip it over and you see if you're touching an edge that has cactus on it or not. And if you're touching the cactus, you say "ouch," and if you're not, you keep the card. Like
Oh,
what?
ouch.
Yeah. There's the
That's
game.
it?
That's it. I
Wow.
don't understand how this game exists. I don't understand who it's for. I don't understand why in this golden age of board gaming this was even made to print, or why anyone thought this would be a good idea to sell to people. If
Ouch.
anybody tells you that they like this game, know that they have your worst interest at heart, and they're trying to hurt you. They're trying to get out the deep despair that lives inside their soul, and put it on you. I don't know. It's just not for me, right?
Yeah. Tell us how
It's
you
like
really feel, Chris.
anyway. So I was disappointed because like I read through a lot of rule books, and I read through rule books and I was like, no, I don't want to. But then I was like, no, like somebody sent this to me. Like I need to do my due diligence. Maybe it's going to be amazing. Maybe it's a good
Yeah.
drinking game. Maybe there's something there. That's the game, and it's
Just
just it is what it is.
yeah.
Anyway,
Ouch.
this is my public service announcement to if you see that on someone's shelf, run the other way.
There it is, your PSA, folks. Number 6. Ouch. An aptly named game.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the number 5 on the list. This is my choice. It is Cryptid Urban Legends. Now, again, another disappointment because I enjoyed Cryptid. I am not normally a social deduction type of fan, and Cryptid I thought was terrific. But Cryptid
Cryptid's great.
Legends, I don't know. So okay, here's a I want to keep this things positive. I love Kwanchai Moria. I think the artwork in this is fantastic. The gameplay, though, I don't know what they decided to make this just like a straight, almost like abstract game, and you're just trying to get the cubes and go around the city, and one's the monster or the cryptid, one's the scientist. You go back and forth, and eventually you find out, if you found the cryptid or not. Oh man, I played this. I was gonna stream this, but I played it and I was like, ooh, I don't know if I like this. And
Mm.
and then I played it again. I was like, I think I got some rules wrong. And then I played it a third time. I was like, it just wasn't for me. And it was nothing. It didn't remind me anything of the original, where you had that like, ooh, I've got a little piece of information here of the cryptid, and I can try to get over there before someone else does. And it had nothing of that, and it just fell flat for me. That's why it was just a disappointment. Chris,
Yeah.
have you played this one? I'm trying to find people who've actually played this.
I haven't. I know. I feel like Alex over at Board Game Co did a similar list, and I think this was on his list as well.
Okay.
Uh, I
Did he
think
like
the
it?
main no, I think it was a disappointment. I
Yeah.
think, but the main issue is that they're calling it Cryptid when it isn't Cryptid. I think Cryptid is such a good game. I
Yeah,
love
right?
Cryptid. It's so
Yeah.
much fun. And so they're attaching that well-known title to this thing, and so people
Yeah.
go in expecting more of that, right?
Yep.
And then when they don't get that, then it's hard to evaluate the game when you go in with such a different expectation than the thing that you actually get.
Right.
I think,
Yeah.
and I think that's been the main and the biggest criticism. I think it's a branding problem with this. I think
Yeah.
if it was rebranded and like ditched the Cryptid name completely, you would have people going in with more of like a fresh take, and
Yeah.
be able to not be expecting that other Cryptid experience that they were hoping for in a card game, and actually have like a completely different experience.
Yeah.
I haven't
Yeah.
played it, but I think like that from your saying that, and that's what I've heard from a few other people as well. They're
Yeah.
like, I wanted Cryptid. I just
Yeah.
wanted Cryptid, and it's not Cryptid. I'm like, well,
Exactly.
yeah, then you're going to be disappointed because it isn't Cryptid for
Yep.
sure. So
Yeah.
I think
And
that's
that.
a really good pick for this list because
Yeah.
of that like expectation.
Yeah, and I think you're exactly 100% right, Chris. It was like, my expectations as, a fan of Cryptid, I came in
Hmm.
and I was like, this is nothing like Cryptid, and that's why it was such a disappointment. Let's
Yeah.
see what our friend Richard has for number 4.
No, why does this keep happening? I do not like talking about things that make me unhappy, but here we are, folks. Number 4, Wayfarers of the South Tigris. And hey, it's the latest from Garphill Games. Sam McDonald and Shem Phillips coming together to make true magic, as they have done with the whole West Kingdom series and the what do you call it, the North Seas trilogies. This is the beginning of their third trilogy, the South Tigris trilogy. I was so stoked for it, and the gameplay here is brilliant. The dual worker placement action, where you've got some workers that are private. I keep them, but I use them on my board, as opposed to the public workers that I put out on the main shared board that other players can ultimately end up claiming after I've used them. Really sharp, really fun. I love everything about this game. I love the setting. I love the lore. I love the attention to detail. I love the art. But there's one thing that I can't stand. It just killed the game for both me and Jen. And that is, there's this one simple little system where you can put down little tokens as influence. You can spread influence around. The main use for it is to put it on the guilds. There's an area control element that give you special powers if you put them on the guilds. That's all fine. But sometimes you find you can put those on the actual cards on the board that players are drafting. And what we found is, very quickly, as a 2-player game, the best use for those when you are putting them on a card is to evaluate, right, what's my opponent doing? Oh, they need a lot of planets. They need a lot of constellation cards. Hey, there's one right there. That would be perfect for you, wouldn't it? Oh, I know it would. I know you want that. You're just waiting to get it. I'm going to put my little marker on there, and that means you've got to pay me taxes to go pick that up. It's more expensive. Enjoy. Have fun. And we hated that. And it's just, it slows the game down, because every time, and this power can come up quite often, that you're like supposed to just put a little marker just to put it on a card. And lots of people have told me, hey, we don't use it for that. We use it to protect a card. If there's a card I really want, I put it there so that people are less inclined to take it from me. And my counter to that is, in a 2-player game, there are so many cards out there, that's really not that much of an issue. Never mind the fact that if you put it on your own card, you are putting a bullseye on stuff that you want, making it easier for your opponent to realize that they can slow you down. So I see no upside to this at all. In a higher player count game, I guess it would make a lot more sense, because things are getting grabbed more often, it's less personal. But as a 2-player game, the reality is, if you're not using those to block block your opponent and bleed them every time they finally get the chance to do what they want to do. You are not using them for peak efficiency, and that just adds a layer of, granted, small. I mean, it's only an extra coin. It's just one coin that you have to pay. But still, this is a game of tight margins, and that coin can really just slow down your plans. And that's why it behooves me to slow down your plans so I can keep moving forward. And then you retaliate and block the stuff that I want. And I wish this wasn't here, because everything else about this game would have easily put it into my top 5 games of the year. But this one tiny little take that element is so ubiquitous and just touches everything. And I'm just hoping when the first expansion for this comes out that maybe there will be an official variant rule saying that, hey, whenever that power comes up, you can use it to block a card or protect a card, or you can just go ahead and put them back on the guilds or something else. There's a dozen other things they could be done that wouldn't introduce this potential cutthroatedness into what is otherwise one of the best Euros of the year. My number 4 on the list, Wayfarers of the South Tigris.
Wow, another I mean, Rahdo is just it's blowing me away right now. Like Stefan Feld and now Shem Phillips. Like, what is going on here?
I love seeing the pain. I love feeling the pain. He can't do. I honestly think I need to give away my nice Canadian card and give it straight to Rahdo, because like you can feel the agony, and also because his pitch of the reason why he doesn't like it makes me want to go out and buy that game immediately. I'm like, that sounds incredible.
Right.
Yes, I want to watch what my opponent's doing, and yes, I want that extra coin. Thank you very much, please.
Yeah, it's funny.
It makes me want to get it.
Yeah, I've got it set up on my table in the other room right now, learning it. So I'm going to be soloing this soon on my channel. I know my friends and brothers Murph, they think it's one of their favorite Shem Phillips designs of all time. So yeah, really interesting to hear Richard's take on that, and I can't wait to play it. Okay, let's move on to we got our top 3 now. Chris, you're going to kick things off with your number 3, and I see it right now, but go ahead. I'm surprised about this, but I want to hear what you have to say.
Well, this is a game that I just played. I've only played it once. I played it for the first time over this past weekend. I had a big board gaming weekend, and I was so excited to try this one out. I've heard such great things about it. It's got heavy negotiation, which it's such an emphasis on negotiation. You've got these negotiation cards that are so powerful. You can negotiate for anything in the game. And I was like, yeah, this game, give me a 5-hour playthrough. I don't care. I'm gonna love every second of it. I was so excited, and then as the game progressed, I got less excited. It feels like it has all these really cool mechanics, and then they just didn't hit with me. This is John Company 2nd edition.
Wow.
This is one of the things why it's my number 1, is because everything about it in theory feels like it should really hit with me, and feels like it should really make me excited. And there were a lot of good things in the game, like, and the people who I played it with were wonderful, like awesome people to play with, lots of fun. But I think my main gripe, because I've been thinking about this a lot ever since I played it, and I was like, you know what, I gotta put it at the top. I gotta reorganize the list. I gotta put it right at the top of the list. I gotta talk about it in this show, because the flow of the game, basically you're taking part of the East Indies Trading Company. You want to basically take as much money as you can while and then retiring all your people. Just really either run the business into the ground or make it profitable. Who cares? Doesn't matter. As long as you get points, you're the villain here. I'm like, great. I love being the villain. I love being a villain in games, and I guess on this channel. But but I'm like, I'm fine with that aspect of it. Then you go through all these steps, and you first have the chairman who gets to assign money to the company, and everybody has a role in the company on how to make the company profitable. So is the outline of it. But what I think was my main issue is that the chairman who gets to assign this money feels so powerful in comparison to all the other roles, and there doesn't really feel like there's a way to oust the chairman from the game or from their position. You'll retire, you'll roll the dice, you'll see if people retire. They're more likely to retire as the game goes on. But if they wanted to, like, if they were to get ahead a little bit earlier, they could just spend all the funds and neglect it. And it's kind of this weird, it's kind of a co-op game because you need to work together to deal with the random events that are happening on the board. And you need to like get money for trade and get money for military exploits and whatever. Um, but if the chairman doesn't give you any money to do those things, you just can't do the things. And so you have to really do your negotiation. Like, okay, that's where these really important negotiation cards come in. And then they were always too important or not important enough to me to barter with. Or at least that's what it felt like to me. People are like, hey, give me that card that you have there, which will give me like all your money. I'm like, well, why would I do that? That's my
Right.
only source of income. That's the only time I get money this round. I'm not going to give you this card so you let me do the thing that gets me money, only for you to get all the money. Like that doesn't make any sense. And
Right.
I had some really fun negotiations. I was there's a track of like what's going to be scored for bonus points at the end, and I was leading on that track. I had the most ships, and the person who was able to manipulate it, the prime minister, was like, see, I don't want to manipulate that. I was like, okay, you know what? I'll give you one of my ships. Now we're both tied for ships. Now it's in your benefit to do this for me and not tax me. He's like, you know what? That was a pretty good deal. And
Yeah.
I loved coming up with that deal. Be it like that felt so exciting. And there were so many little moments throughout that were really exciting. But in the end, I was like, oh, I'm ahead. Hey, everybody vote for me to be the chairman. I'll give you so much money. I'll run the company into the ground. We can just walk away. And everyone's like, okay, great. And then I took all the money. I was like, nah, okay, go do your thing, but let's just tank the company. Ha
Right.
ha, I
Ah,
win. You know what I mean? Like it felt like there was that sort of weird balance of power. So like
yeah.
there were a lot of bonuses, there were a lot of positives here, but there were also like a lot of these weird swingy things that I don't know if I would return for another 5 hour game. Like
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of long games. I'll play
Mhm.
a 6 hour game of Dune any day of
Yeah.
the week. But like because of the length of this and because of what I felt was like really swingy, it was just yeah, it was just a little it was you know what it was? It was disappointing. Uh it was I don't think it's bad.
Right.
It was just disappointing from what the expectations that I had going in
Yeah.
versus,
Yeah.
what happened.
That's fair.
Um,
And that's
have you
yeah.
played have you played John Company?
I
Have you played
haven't.
the
It was
Mm,
on my list of like, hey, this looks really interesting. And
yeah.
based on your description, I've heard similar things, and I'm still sort of a mix of like, do I want to play this type of game for 5 hours? And I'm not sure if I do. And if that was before I hearing, it's what I just heard you say. Pretty much confirmed. I don't want to do 5 hours. So
Yeah. If it
yeah,
was
it's
if it
just
was 2, 2.5,
yeah,
3,
yeah,
like, you could then I would say, yeah, it's worth a try, right? Because there's some really fun things in it, but
hmm
because it does extend for that period of time,
yeah,
I think part of the only reason I was my chairman of tanking the company to the ground worked is because, honestly, people were getting tired. People were getting tired of it, and they're like, "You know what? If we tank the game, it ends a round earlier? Yeah, I'm okay with," you know? And
yeah.
so, like, that sort of outside influence wasn't even, like, a strategic thing on my part. It
It
was
was
just
yeah,
people being like, "You know what? I am a bit tired. Okay, let's see what happens," right? It was
yeah.
like, "Let's burn it to the ground and see what happens." So,
So you
yeah.
basically won the war of attrition in a way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
that's
well done,
exactly
my
it.
friend. Well done.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. Number two. This is number one on my personal list, and
Mhm.
this. I mean, you saw Rahdo pained over his last game. You're gonna see me in pain right now. My number
Yeah.
two biggest disappointment of 2022 was Twilight Inscription. Now, I am a huge Twilight Imperium. Folks know here on the channel that's my favorite game of all time. I love it, and going into things, I was so fired up about Twilight Inscription. It's a roll and write version of Twilight Imperium. And going in, Chris, I was thinking it's either going to be the greatest roll and write of all time or the absolute worst roll and write of all time. And what
Mhm.
I found was a good game, but it didn't fire the emotions. It didn't stoke the emotions that I thought it would. I thought it was either going to absolutely love it, or hate it. And I turned
Yeah.
out, I was like, it's cool. It was a game. It was not a bad game. It just didn't live up to the hype for me, and maybe I just built it up too much in my own personal headspace, where I thought it was going to be this amazing. I mean, it was good. It's got multiple player boards. It's really interesting rolling, right? You're going to do a lot of combos where one thing is going to trigger on one board, it's going to trigger off another. You have to gather resources to, do other things, fly around the galaxy, and then you have a combat system, which is really interesting, where you're doing almost like polyomino pieces where you have to get your ships in order, and then the combat's a little funky as far as like you can only attack the opponent on your left or right, sort of like with Seven Wonders style. So that wasn't too bad, but just overall, I was like, I know I wasn't supposed to expect the actual Twilight Imperium experience, but I thought it would be just a little more than it was. And it was disappointing. I think I'm more disappointed in myself for building it up to be like the next biggest thing and like the greatest roll and ride of all time. And, if I had to choose, like we talked about this on the pre-show, folks, hit the eye in the top right corner if you want to see the extended version of this show. We talked about the roll and ride Three Sisters, and I thought that was a wonderful roll and ride. Plays about 45 minutes, and that was a brain burner, and that was a great experience, a really cool theme. And then Twilight Imperium, this I thought it was going to be my jam. It's a 4X, it's a sci-fi thing. I got it, and it's like, honestly, I'd rather play Three Sisters. I'd rather tend to my vegetable garden, and it was such a bummer to me. It was a disappointment, but would I play it again? Of course, because I still have it. I'm not getting rid of it. I love the Twilight Imperium universe, and I think there are some really neat things, like they tie into the original game. Like you still have the factions, you have some asymmetric abilities, you actually still have the negotiation, the diplomacy of it, which surprised me. But I don't know if I really want that in a roll and write. After I played it, I was like, oh, this might not really be my jam. But that's why I was disappointed. That's why it's my number 2. But I'm still not getting rid of it. I'm still keeping it because I love Twilight Imperium. Were you able to play this one, Chris?
Nice. I had the choice this weekend. People were setting up for Hadrian's Wall, and people were setting up for Twilight Inscription, and I was like, I haven't played either. Which one do I choose?
Yeah.
And I opted for Hadrian's Wall, and I didn't pull the trigger on Twilight Inscription. But it's one that I would like to try. That's those sort of combos. Did I make the right choice, Ruel? Have you played Hadrian's Wall?
I haven't played Hadrian's Wall, but from everyone I know, every single person I've talked to, all my friends, people on the channel here, Hadrian's Wall is the superior game. But slightly, it's I guess
I feel like they probably do similar to Hadrian's Wall is two boards, Twilight Inscription is 4 boards, right? So you can do for sure more combos between the two, but they're both like that sort of combo-tastic.
Exactly. Hey, nice word there, Fire.
I made it up, entirely my own word that I came up with right now. And certainly didn't steal from you.
Yeah. Let's see what Richard's got for the biggest disappointment
number 1
of 2022. Here we go, friends.
And now finally, the number 1 most disappointing of 2022, for me anyway, has got to be Marvel Champions, the new Mutant Genesis expansion, which broke my heart. And folks, this is where I get off the Marvel Champions train. I have been a die-hard lover of this system ever since it came out. I've gotten everything, but I am done. And now I should say, this is not because I personally am not the biggest fan of the X-Men. That's neither here nor there. There have been plenty of heroes that have come along and I'm like, I don't particularly care about that hero, but wow, I really like how it's implemented. And to be fair, the heroes here, as always, the design of this is just spot on. So smart. I'm constantly impressed by how well the design team really brings new, true to the heroes gameplay with their system over and over again. Let's see, I haven't filmed it. Let me just go on ahead and I'll use this picture because it looks like that is all of the cards. Let's just zoom in and just look at the cards a little bit while we're talking. So anyway, it's not because of the X-Men. The X-Men, fine. And it's also not because, the first thing that really struck me when I sat down to play this, the very, very first mission is an attack on the United States Capitol, where bad guys are coming here to attack senators. And oh my gosh, some of the cards have imagery straight out of January 6th. Now, I'm willing to give that a pass because I'm sure the developers are like, oh my gosh, we've already commissioned all the art. We can't do anything about this, because these things are developed way in advance. But I'm just going to chalk that up to bad timing. But it really left a bad taste in my mouth. But, aside from just the unfortunate parallel to real world events, what more bothered me about that mission and every mission, because I looked through all of them, even though I didn't find myself wanting to play any of them, is they continue to double down on throwing away what makes Marvel Champions so special. The focus on the heroes' personal lives, that they're not always fighting nonstop, that they take breaks from the fight, that they go home, that they interact with their loved ones and the things that make them people, as opposed to just punchy superheroes. And over the ensuing years, ever since it's come out, they have just walked farther and farther away from that. Through the design of their missions, throw away what was so brilliant, the fact that these events were not just things that take place over an hour, but take place over weeks. The first mission of this game didn't have to be January 6th parallel, because the villains didn't have to be storming the Capitol. The whole thing is, the gameplay takes place over 30 minutes. It could have been, they've already kidnapped Senator Kelly, and they're holding him. And so the whole mission is us, doing all of our thwarting to try to find him and save him. And of course, we occasionally take breaks and deal with, our personal lives and stuff like that. Ever since, they have just more and more walked away and just made every single mission, and most of the missions here really can't be viewed any other way than, this takes place over 15 minutes, this 2-hour game we're going to play, when with simple little tweaks to the story, they could have made them much more interesting long-term things that last for days and weeks, so that you could really play up the alter ego side of the heroes. And at the same time, they've been walking away from this, the cool notion of mission design that takes time, that the setting takes time. They are also walking away from even trying to delve into the personal life. When I got out Cyclops, like I said, I'm not the biggest X-Men fan in the universe, but I know Cyclops was married and has a kid, and there's nothing in his alter ego stuff. What's his alter ego card? The Danger Room. More hero stuff. So the line between the personal lives of the heroes and the heroes themselves has just at this point been completely obliterated. They're not even trying anymore. And so that's why I'm disappointed. What started out so special, so unique, still delivers on the gameplay. I can't stress that enough. So if you don't care about the verisimilitude of the true Marvel Comics experience, which is just as much about interpersonal relationships as it is with punching and kicking, and if you just want nothing but punching and kicking, hey, have at it. Mutant Genesis does a great job just like all the others. But unfortunately, this is where, like I said, folks, I've got to get off because the designers have declared, we don't care about that. We're just here for the punching and the kicking. And I want something more from my Marvel champion. So I'm just going to stick with the earlier stuff. And I'm a little disappointed with Mutant Genesis. Okay, back to you guys.
And this actually was no surprise. Richard's been sort of getting off the bandwagon of Marvel Champions for the last few months, or maybe the last year or so. But still, it's pretty funny to hear him actually say, "Yep, that's it. I've had enough. No mas."
I love it. Just the objection being too much punching and kicking. That's what I would want from. I've never played Marvel Champions because I'm scared of living card games. I'm scared I'll spend all of my money on every single thing. But that's what I would want.
Right.
I'm a punching and kicking guy. Richard cares about people and their personal lives, and if they're rescuing Senator Kelly, I don't think they should go home and have a bath and take the kettle off because they left the. I think they should finish the mission. That's me personally. I think they got to finish the mission.
Nice. Hey, Chris, thank you so much for joining me today for the R&R show. It's been really great. Before we get out of here, any final words?
No, thanks for having me. It's been a blast. As many of these that I can cram my way into, I will.
Nice.
So hopefully this won't be the last time, and we can do this again sometime.
Absolutely, my friend. Okay, and that's it for now, folks. Thanks again for watching, and stick around and check out something else on the channel. Talk to you later. So long. Bye-bye. And we are back. That's it, folks. We just recorded a show. Woo! Chris, that was a show. Wow.
That was fun. That was really fun. Thanks, chat. It was really nice. Even though we can't acknowledge the chat, I really like seeing seeing the comments as we go, and you can see us trying to slip some of them in there too. We're like, that's great. That's a great point. Thank you so much.
Exactly. So, thank you, chat.
It feels more like that conversation aspect too, which is always
absolutely
great.
Yeah. We have gone over our time limit here. We usually stick to 2 hours, so we're gonna call things right now. I think we've got most of the comments. Yeah, we've pretty much gone through all the comments. We really want to thank you all for joining us today. Again, kudos to Chris for stepping up because Richard couldn't make it. And kudos to you all viewers for hanging out. And let's find someone to raid. We're going to take the party elsewhere. Let me get the raid thing. And I want to thank you all for hanging out as I try to do this thing on the fly here. I'm sweating up a storm, and I think I messed up some stuff, but hopefully
you killed it, Ruel.
Thanks. Thank you, my friend.
I didn't even notice.
Let's see. I'm going to go over here, get the raid started. Who can we raid? Let's find a raid. Someone to raid. Someone playing board games, hopefully.
Yeah, that's the best.
Yeah, let's see. Who is online? No one's Losapalooza is online. We raid Loser. Yeah, we'll raid the losers right now. They're fantastic. Dave and Ilka. Let me punch that in. Folks, you stick around for the raid, you get channel points, which you can later spend here for cool stuff. I'm gonna start the raid in about 10 seconds. Chris, you got 10 seconds to say something before we get out of here.
Hey, thanks so much, everybody. Well, I look forward to chatting, and I'll jump in the chats if I'm not on other ones.
Cool. And where can they find you, Chris? What is your channel and all that stuff?
Oh, yeah, of course. You can check me out over on YouTube. Room and Board Reviews is the @Room and Board Reviews. It's just Room and Board, but that distinguishes me from a furniture company who were doubling subscribers. And if you wouldn't mind going to subscribe, I'm almost at that 10K mark. And so when I do, I'm going to do my top 20 games of all time, because top 10 is just, not enough. So I'm really excited about that. If you can help me out, that'd be great. If not, well, I still like you.
All right. Thank you, Chris. And thank you, friends. We're going to start the raid right now. We'll see you later. And
all right, see ya.
Bye. Let's see if the raid went through. I hope it did.
Yeah, looks like it did on my other